Good evening, Dude79 here, just doing a quick mic check. Hopefully the audio levels sound good.
Wiener, wiener, wiener.
Wiener, 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 chicken diener. Oh, God. These beers are going down good tonight, you guys. We're going to have a great show, a lot of stuff to talk about. King Cuddle's in the chat. Crash is in the chat. Brit's in the chat. Hey-yo, wieners. We'll be live in just a few moments, y'all. Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I'm the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague and renowned piece of shit, Mr. Fanboy Tone. Mr. Fanboy Tone, what's up, buddy?
Feeling much better.
You look better. You don't smell like shit. You're not wearing the diaper anymore. You look great, and I'm proud of you, buddy.
I was cosplaying as you last week.
Is that what that was? Yeah. Oh, you didn't have a pacifier in, so I wasn't sure.
My butt.
Gross. What's up, y'all? Hope everyone is having. Yeah, I know it's Rory has nowhere else to go. He's not going anywhere. His season has come to an end. Yes, we'll address it momentarily. It's a little bit of heartache. Tone, it's probably the most football you've watched, Lions football you've watched like in the last 30 years.
Well, it's been. I keep trying to pinpoint it when I the break was just like, I'm over the shit.
Yeah.
It was about 6 or 7 years ago, regardless.
Uh-huh.
Definitely is the most football, NFL, I should say, that
Yeah.
I've watched in a long time, especially Lions. And, like, listen, it was nice to watch a different team that I've never seen on the Lions before.
Yeah.
And that's my main takeaway from it, is that even though I haven't been invested as long as everybody else have, and I respect that you have been, don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but Dan Campbell is like, he's just different, like, and it feels different. And the things he says are different. And it, like, even though I haven't watched a ton this season, I've watched probably a third, maybe, right? But he got me invested.
Yeah. Jamal Williams did it last year for you.
Jamal started last year, truth be told. I wish the Detroit Hokage was still around. Do not get me wrong. But like, and then during and after the season, you start hearing everybody saying, well, it feels like it's we were like Dan Campbell. Like, everybody just talks about how much they love Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about how they're a team.
Yeah.
And you see it, and I'm like, we've never seen that in Detroit.
I mean,
that's a different thing
new.
to see.
It's new.
It's very new. So, it was very tough to see what we saw, I think, on Sunday. And this is, again, from somebody who's walked back into it recently. But, and at the end of the day, all I can say about that is that the Lions played it and beat themselves. It's kind of on their own hands on that one in some ways.
It definitely wasn't the Niners. I mean, the Lions did, in fact, beat themselves in the third. I mean, the third quarter was just a mixture of that and Murphy's Law.
And the Niners,
anything that could have went wrong went wrong.
And Niners came out swinging, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And there it is. And so it sucks, but the last thing I'll say, I'm going to turn it over to you because you've been invested longer. And the thing that has bothered me the most since I've walked away from it, part of the reason I walked away originally, and I'll be honest, I respect that some of you have been watching Lions for a long time. I get it. But you're also part of the problem, and that's why I can't handle it. That the Lions fans are some of the most toxic outside of even the things.
We've seen it this week. Week.
And I say that because, like, you couldn't have it even last season. Like, they'd be doing a good game, and all of a sudden somebody drops a ball. Same old Lions. Like, listen, I get you're burned on it, but like, you can't continue to do that. And then even this week after the loss, like, well, Lions, same old fucking Lions doing stuff. Like, bro, they made it farther than they've made it in 50, 60 some years.
Yeah.
Why aren't we celebrating the fact that it's a new era right now?
Yeah.
And guess what? That comes with growing pains. You're not going to win the Super Bowl that easily. Like,
right.
You've got to work to get there. They've put in a lot of work. There's still probably work to do.
Mm-hmm.
And some people say that was their last chance. I don't necessarily know if I believe that, truth be
Right.
told. And maybe it was. And if it was, they did more and harder than we've seen out of Detroit in a long time.
Yeah.
So instead of being that fan, and I've seen a lot of you, especially on Facebook, and I've had to bite my tongue,
Mm-hmm.
don't be a fan then. Don't fucking watch. I walked away for a while, so, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be that person. That's ridiculous to me. Like, celebrate the good, because it is a different era right now. That's it.
No, I think you're right. And those fans, and I can tell you this, man. Like, I think a lot of these fans.
There you go, Jail.
One of the best 4 teams in the league, and people are pissed. Grow up. I mean, I get it. Like, look, and I think part of the problem is, dude, it's 2 things. One, we're not here enough often to understand what it's like to be like, oh, this is cool, and we can keep this going.
Mm-hmm.
We don't experience winning seasons ever. It's once out of every 6-7 years we get it, like maybe close to 500.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really know how to handle ourselves in these situations. We really don't know how to view things, and I'm guilty of it, man. There's times where I'll be just so pissed and upset, but I can always be critical of my teams and still be a fan. I can be critical. I can sit there and be like, dude, I didn't like this. I didn't like this. I didn't like this. And you're not going to change my mind. It doesn't change the fact that I'm tuning in and I'm invested. I'm there. But like, we're not used to winning. And then the other thing is, we are so fucking traumatized from all the losing that when it does start to kind of unfurl and everything starts to kind of fall apart, we're just like, oh no, this is it.
Yeah.
The Cinderella story's over. How can you not be happy? They did something 50% of the fans were not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if there's people out there who think Dan Campbell should be fired and that it's his fault. No, look.
I've seen some crazy shit.
I will say this. I understand the logic of why people are upset about leaving points on the field. I get it. 3 points, that's 2 field goals. One of them, I I don't know if I would have kicked with the kicker that we have. The one up close, I mean, yeah, I'll listen to that argument. But the reality is, man, this guy got us here doing this shit.
Look at the percentages on that shit too.
Dude, and people argue, well, the analytics. Well, I can tell you right now, the people that thought of the analytics probably know more than most of the people that are bitching about it.
That's why I'm saying, like the analytic, like when
You
you're
have
seeing,
no idea what they're talking about.
right? You see the analytics of that shit, bro. Like saying that on the conversions that they've done that stuff, it's like 75% that they usually make. So I mean, that tells you right.
And
there.
then the other thing that pisses me off, dude, and it's just so fucking hilarious because I don't know if they think this stuff is actually like if it's all scripted, but look, if he kicks the field goal and we make the field goal, the game is not going to play out exactly this. Dude, for 3 points, strategies change. Play calling changes. Shit could have went completely different.
Mm-hmm.
The next series, if we're up by 17 or only up by 14, the play calling that San Francisco is going to do is going to change because they're down 3 scores.
Right.
So the game's not going to play out as is. Be like, oh, well, you lost the 3 points, and you could have used those.
It's not that easy.
We don't fucking know if it's going to play like that. Butterfly effect.
Perfect. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
So
yeah.
when people say that's it, shut the fuck up. You don't know what's going to happen after that play. I don't know what's going to happen after the play. All I can tell you is, as a coach and listening to other people who coach, strategies change.
Mm-hmm.
Play calling changes. So shut the fuck up with that shit. It's so annoying. But like, I had an awesome time this season. Got good news this week. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, turned down the remaining 2 jobs, said he's coming back to Detroit. That's huge.
Very huge.
Because now the offense doesn't have to learn somebody else's offense. I don't know, so he doesn't have to come in and try to get a feel for the players, what their limitations are, what they can do. You don't have any of that. You just come back, hit the ground running, and continue to evolve an offense. That's going to be pretty fucking scary.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he actually mention Campbell is one of the reasons he wanted to come back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're buddies, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, he's known him for a long time.
Yeah, so
and he's loyal, and like I said, there's something about unfinished business. And here's the thing with Ben Johnson, man. Like everybody in the league, if you watch the analysts or any of the talking heads in the NFL, they're all very aware of how good he is at play calling. They all know they talk about his plays and his designs and when he uses these plays. Everyone agrees, like he's a fucking genius. So even if he doesn't leave this year, he's gonna get a head coaching job next year.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. He's got time.
He doesn't have to rush into it. And like, look, I understand the appeal of Washington. I get it. A lot of cap space, number 2 pick, a new owner that's not a toxic piece of shit that we know of. So I mean, very appealing location. But next year, if the Cowboys don't get it done, if the Eagles don't get it done, or if Holmgren retires, there's going to be some teams out there that are going to be looking for a new head coach, somebody young and somebody they can build their offense around. He's got a lot of options is what I'm saying. He doesn't have to leave, and he wants to finish what he started here, and I can respect that. And that was really good news. That was like the one, oh, that's nice.
And it's a rarity, too, because
that.
you don't see that sort of shit too often. And like, especially people typically in the past have run from the Detroit market.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, and honestly, man, think about it. There's only, 32 NFL teams? There's only 32 head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes to you with head coach money, more often than not, the OCs or the DCs going to be like, see ya.
Yeah, sounds like money wasn't a thing for him either. So, hey, whatever it is. And, listen, it was a bummer to see that on Sunday, but I will probably be more invested next year as well too.
Yeah,
my Sundays will probably be back to watching Lions pretty consistently.
Should be fun, man.
So awesome. Either way, and I think that's a pretty much if you want to know what we've been doing lately, that's what it's been for everybody lately.
Football.
I've talked more NFL football and Lions than I have in fucking years, and that's pretty sweet. So.
Been doing that. Been doing a little bit of gaming myself.
Yeah.
I started playing Dark Light last night, that side-scrolling Metroidvania game that I showed you in Prime about. Started playing that a little bit.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
It's pretty interesting so far. You can tell it's a little rougher around the edges, but for the most part, like it's got the atmosphere and it's got the gameplay, and I'm cool with that. So I'll be curious to see how the story unfolds early on in that. But the other game, dude, I have shit on just about every survival game that Cuddles and Drast and all start saying, hey, we're hopping in, we're playing this shit. And I'll either pick it up if it's free to play, or I'll pay for it, and then I'll ask for a refund after like 20 minutes on Steam because I'm like, I'm not playing this shit. And like these guys have been talking, like Enshrouded's coming out, Enshrouded is good. And Cuddles had me looking at trailers. He's like, this looks really good, dude. And I was like, I don't know, man. If I played one survival game, I've played them all. You know, they just don't do anything for me. But he was really hyped about this. It came out, I think it was like $26.99 or something like that. And so I was like, fuck it. I'll try it. I trust Cuddles. I trust Drast, and they're saying good things about it. I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. And, dude, this is basically, and I know there's probably going to be some fucking Nintendo fans going to be like, dude, pump your fucking brakes. Don't say this. Don't say that. This is basically what I wanted Breath of the Wild to be. It really is. It's basically what I wanted Breath of the Wild to be in terms of like what's going on in the world and like places to explore and things to do and just have me engaged. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, every time I play, I'm just like, I can't fucking do this. There are certain things I like about them. The dungeons and the puzzle rooms and all that shit and those games, they're really good. But going across the world and just combating these lame creatures or whatever, I was just like, this is so boring. I can't get into it, and I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. But Enshrouded?
Yeah, I was
a lot of potential, dude.
Watching him play that, and I've been through a lot of fucking survival games as well too. But for one, it looks good. Two, the RPG elements. It just everything about it looked different. I'm like, man, you guys make me want to get a fucking PC, and I hate you for it.
I mean, Cuddles is right. It's Zelda fuck Valheim.
That's a
that's what it is. It's the child of that.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's fun to play. The surviving elements are pretty cool. I like building stuff. I've been more invested in crafting when I know that I got to go out into the world and explore stuff. And at the same time, the RPG elements got me grinding out stuff because I want to build my class a certain way. I'm actually really, really impressed with Enshrouded. Like, I'm really digging it. That's a game I'm not going to request a refund on. I've already spent, I think, a considerable amount of time for myself anyways in a game, in a genre of game that I just typically am like, fuck this.
Playing handheld, right?
What's that?
Playing handheld?
No.
Really?
I mean, well, how do you play handheld in that?
You're the rogue.
Oh yeah.
The ROG or whatever you fucking call it.
Rogue. Oh, ally. Oh, hey. I thought you meant like I was playing a game that was like holding my hand or something. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh yeah, I played on the Ally. Dude, it's nice too, man. It runs better on PC. Yeah. But you got to lower down the settings quite a bit on the Ally. But when you do it and it works, you're just like, this is fucking sweet.
Cool. I've been gaming too, but it's been fucking
the system.
What?
You gaming the system? What are you cheating on? What are you doing?
That's personal.
Taxes?
Yeah, I tried.
Come back.
I tried. No, the finally the intermission DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Ooh.
And because I'm getting ready for Rebirth in about 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I guess. And I don't normally pretty boisterous about not replaying games too often, but right now I'm finding myself replaying Remake because I fucking love it and I'm excited for Rebirth. So that's really probably about it. I keep putting off Baldur's Gate until I have time to play it.
Dude, you're never going back.
I'll get to it.
You're never going.
I'll get to it, bro. But either way, that's pretty much it.
Tone.
Yeah.
Quick reminder to everybody.
Always a quick reminder. Look at that. There's your reminder.
March 2nd and March 3rd.
March 2nd, March 3rd, the Minimal Comic Con returns once again, of course, with this year, the 40th anniversary of the Ghostbusters. I know Paul of Fet's Toy Depot is really excited because of the Ghostbusters. We've got, I think Ecto 1 will be there as well.
Yes,
too.
I did read that. Yes.
We've got an international from Canada. One of the Ghostbuster crews is going to be there as well, too. Wow. And then Creations from Generations is, I think I said that right, is going to be yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
You got it.
She's going to be doing some crazy fun stuff as she always does to like highlight that as well too. She comes up with amazing stuff for the kids to do. It's pretty awesome. So I'm already making a list of vendors and people I want to talk to. I'm really excited. Just listen, it's a strenuous couple days, but if you're in the area, stop by, wave. We'll try to talk to you if we can. It's a little difficult, of course. Bringing people in and conversating. We're lining up. I think we got a potentially 1, maybe 2 booth people this year as well. And hey, I got new business cards coming out with a QR code. Those should be here this week.
Oh shit! Okay.
So we put those together, and we're moving to the QR. We've upgraded. Hopefully we can use that even on like the Twitch stream. Like you can put it on QR code shit for our link tree. So we've made it so if you're lazy like me, you just QR scan, boom, we don't have to type anything in. It's pretty sweet. So
Scottle says, make sure to tell them Crash hates Ghostbusters. Crash, you want to cosplay? Cosplay as Walter Peck.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dickless.
That'd be like fourth wall breaking kind of. He hates them, and he's going as Walter Peck, who hates them.
Right.
That's just an
Dickless
idea.
Walter Peck, but Yeah, if you're in, like I said, if you're hanging around, come say hi. If not, at least just go enjoy stuff. Sign up for the D&D one shots that everybody's doing. Thank you, of course, Wombat Warrior, for bringing in the 70 crews they always do on Wednesday nights. But really excited. It's gonna be a good time as always. We unfortunately got some bummer news this week.
Yeah, Squeaker.
Lacey of Squeakers, she will not be able to attend this year. She's had some personal things go on, and her health is most important. So I know she's not out there right now, but just thinking of you. Please get better. It's not going to be the same without you. We love your energy. Hopefully you'll be back next year as well, too. She's been a fun partner and a good friend to get to know throughout the process last couple of years of doing this. And so
she was an integral part. She was a huge part of it.
Huge part of the cosplay stuff. She's very well traveled nationally, and we're just gonna miss you the heck out of you. So, but yeah, we're excited.
Pandas are especially allowed.
Pandas are definitely.
That's what you meant to say. That's what you heard.
Definitely.
They're especially allowed, not allowed, especially allowed.
Right.
So we want to see pandas there, okay? I don't like to feed them pancakes. All right, dude. Let's see here. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to let Rory continue to sulk, no longer on camera.
Well, before we jump too fast, I brought you a treat.
You did.
And I really want you to try it.
Tone wants me to eat a cream pie here.
Yeah, but it's a special cream pie. And I don't know if anybody else has had these, but you hadn't had one, and this is one of my favorite Little Debbie's now at this point. It is the peanut butter cream pie.
It's a cream.
It's very rich. I can tell you, it's very rich. But it's like eating peanut butter cookies with a peanut butter filling in it. And you want to know a good little trick is if you've got some fucking jelly. There's me a little jelly on top too, or dip it in some jelly. So let's see. Peanut butter cream pie.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, man.
Yeah.
I would eat your cream pies all day, bro.
Thanks, Uncle. Yeah. See, let it sink in. Yeah, it's funny you say that, Crash. Every time I eat one, I have to have a glass of my milk. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get a chance to gobble up one of Tone's cream pies, these things are fucking awesome, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get them at Meijer. They're like $5. I think you get like 6 or 8 of them in there. And I was telling them before the show, that I try to only eat one like every other week. Maybe I don't try to even do one a week. They're very rich. But the problem is because of my love for peanut butter, when you start, like it pretty much, it's basically like I unhook my jaw and put the whole thing in my mouth and then just swallow it.
I know where you learned that from, you fucking pervert.
Jesus Christ, leave my mom out of this. God damn.
Well,
damn.
So
good. We're good on that? Okay.
I mean, is it going to replace the original cream pie?
I'm not. Yeah, that's a tough one.
It compliments it though.
Yeah. Because I love oatmeal cookies. Period. I think they're a high tier cookie. But oatmeal cream pies, yeah, man, they're OG and they're top dogs.
That is good, man. And then honestly, man, washing it down with an OCP.
Actually, yeah, no, I know.
It actually works, dude.
So get you a peanut butter cream pie as soon as you can. Little Debbie always out there doing work. Yeah, thank you.
She's got the best cream pies. All right, Tone.
Yeah,
we've got a lot to talk about tonight.
We do.
Today.
Excited.
Well, I don't want to do that. Here we go. Let's get to the first topic. Today, Sony had their first state of play of 2024.
And they did it earlier than normal, didn't they?
They did it pretty early. And we know this is not the first one, and next week there's another one. We know on the 6th there's another one for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Deep dive into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Tom's probably going to fucking go nuts with that one. But today we just want to talk a little bit about what we saw from today's state of play. To be honest, Tone, I mean, if you ask anybody on social media or any gamer in general, the last couple state of plays from Sony have been, at best, okay to some underwhelming efforts.
So
hasn't been like a real, especially the last showcase was really kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it surely was.
The showcase is like the real big one that they focus on the first party stuff. Last of Us Remake number 5. No, surprisingly no mention from Naughty Dog at all.
There was a moment I almost thought something was coming, but no.
No Last of Us. But Tone, there were some titles that really stood out. Some titles that we've known about for a while, but we got to see some deep dives into the gameplay. The first of them being Stellar Blade, which comes out on April 26th. And I got some like near Automata vibes out of this
Yep,
game.
a little bit of that, absolutely.
It really hits on quite a few. There was a game that came out on Switch that is exclusive to Switch that had kind of like a futuristic.
Was it the chained
one? Yes.
the chained echoes or something like that? God,
a chained or
chains of something or whatever.
Does anybody know what that game is?
I loved that game, by the way.
That's the same vibe I got.
Yeah, that's a good vibe
from this
yeah,
trailer.
Yeah.
But this game looks really good. You play as Eve. She's part of like this. Like basically, Earth has been overrun by like bugs or creatures of some kind. Something has invaded Earth,
monster,
and it's like this a post-apocalyptic Earth. And Eve is part of like this strike team that's been sent down from the home colony. Because what happens once Earth was overrun, everyone was like, well, we're going to another colony on another planet.
Yeah,
we can't stay here. So she's a part of this team that comes back to Earth to kind of like help defeat these invaders. And it's a semi-open world game, so it's not fully open world, but semi-open world is still, there's a lot to explore typically. It's going to feature a lot of melee and ranged combat. There's party building, there's boss fights. It's going to be heavily cinematic. I actually think this looks really good, dude.
Yeah.
This one really kind of stood out because, like I said, there's a lot of cinema. I can't believe it's not Nier. Dude, that's one of the things that we saw. We're just like, man, that's very similar to like something like Nier. But I thought this was a good trailer, man. Like I said, the animation looks good. It's got that Japanese feel to it. And when the combat ramps up, like it looks fucking dope. I mean, it looks exciting. It looks thrilling. But I want to get your thoughts, man. I mean, is this something that speaks to you?
Yeah, well, you know me. I'm weeb guy over here. So as soon as I saw it, is it? I don't know for sure, Brian. Maybe it possibly could be. I just know like when I see like that Eastern storytelling, that Eastern like look, that anime-esque look, I'm already interested as well too. But yeah, the Nier Automata vibes I got from that as well too. I also got kind of Bayonetta feels as well too, like a Devil May Cry. Like I don't know if the combat's gonna be similar to that, but I got some of the vibes like that as well too. So action RPG is what I believe this is kind of leaning into for sure. And listen, not everything has to be like fully open world. If it's a little bit more linear,
you can bounce off bounce off a little bit here and there, check stuff,
you're
and then
pushing
get back to it.
Yeah, pushing things forward. I'm all down for it. So I think this has a lot of potential. I think as we were chatting about it while watching this, I think the three of us that were chatting about it, we're like, wow, this is kind of surprising us right now. It looks really good. I love the monster design.
Yeah, some of them look fucking dope.
Very, very like horror-esque in some ways as well too. So yeah, sign me up. Playing it. Man,
when this combat really kicks in, we'll see if we can get some real quick. But yeah, like I think it was called Astral Unchained.
That's what it was.
I think that's what it was called. But
yeah,
like lots of vibes of that. The voice work sounds good. And like it's got all those little Japanese RPG elements to it. So I mean, it's gonna be a lot of like you can really get into the nitty gritty. Probably gonna have some deep menus. Go in there and kind of build your character. But I mean, you can craft stuff. You can buy stuff. There's there's multiple different weapon types. It looks like a pretty extensive skill tree.
Pretty gnarly.
But I mean, man, yeah, when this game gets moving, when the action kicks in, I was just like, dude, this is kind of...
Yeah, there was a couple boss battles that look pretty fucking
This looks
sweet.
kind of sexy. So, I mean, it's something I knew they announced. I think it had a different title a year or so ago when they first unveiled it. And then they did another reveal where they gave it a title, and now this is kind of like the first big deep dive. I think it's about a 7 or 8 minute trailer. So if you guys get a chance, head over there. If this is something that like kind of speaks to you, check out the trailer. Like it shows quite a bit, and it looks really, really good in motion. So really excited to check this out. Again, this drops on April 26th. Sony has quite a few games coming out these next couple months.
Their late winter spring is actually quite stacked right now. To the fact where like I don't know, there's a couple. I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna juggle this?
Dude, I mean, you've got Rebirth at the end of this month. You've got, we'll talk about it in a minute, Rise of Ronin the month later, and then a month after that, you got Stellar Blade. You got Helldivers 2 dropping next week. There's a lot of stuff that is exclusive to their platform. They might not necessarily be first-party titles, but they're coming from PlayStation Studios or second party or whatever you want to call it. I mean, this shit looks fucking. Yeah. This looks fucking awesome.
This looks fun.
So Pacific Drive on the 26th. I mean, there is just an insane amount of games coming out that Sony's really excited about. And I mean, honestly, man, that's one thing that always kind of like annoys me with gaming in general. Is just when you have this onslaught of games that are obviously going to take longer than probably lengthy games, and you have 1 month to finish it because you want to get to the next hot game when it comes out. So it's going to be tough, but I think this looks really good. Something I'm definitely going to be curious about, but it's the next title, Tone, that let's preface this by saying, you and I are big Ghost of Tsushima guys. We love Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch crushed it with that game. It's a fucking awesome game. It was an amazing experience.
Right, Cuddles.
They announced Rise of Ronin early last year, or I think it was middle of the year or something like that. When they announced Rise of Ronin, I saw it. I was just like, this looks really similar to Ghost of Tsushima. And I was like, why can't we just get Ghost of Tsushima too? What is this going to be about? Like, is this going to be a knockoff of it? I wasn't really too hyped about it. But then, of course, they run a trailer today, and it looks fucking awesome. I'm not feeling Rose of Ronin at all. It just looks, I mean, like, I think it looks fun. I think it looks really good, especially when it gets to the combat. Because I wasn't sure if this was going to be something like, God, what's the, I do this all the time. I blank on games that I know. There's 2 titles that came out on PlayStation. They're kind of like Souls games that were set in this setting.
Like Sekiro?
No, not similar to Sekiro. Neo, thank you.
Neo. Yeah.
I thought that's what this was gonna be.
Isn't the same team?
Is it Koi or Team Ninja?
Tecmo, isn't it? Whatever, originally Tecmo or whatever it was, or
something like that.
Something like that. I could be wrong on that, but yeah.
But then I watched this trailer and I was like, oh, yeah, Team Ninja. There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
But I mean, I looked at this and I was like, this looks kind of like a mixture of like Assassin's Creed with some of its gameplay elements and Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
You've got like the Assassin's Creed look to it when you're running around and exploring stuff and the way you maneuver through the cities. But then you get to the combat here and you're switching stances, much like Ghost of Tsushima. And I was just like, okay, this actually looks good. And the parry system looks fucking dope. And I love when they put effort into a parry system, whether it's a slowdown or the way they react to to your parries. I think this actually, the grappling hook looks pretty cool. That could be a cool way to maneuver around the map. Dude.
Listen, I know I don't hear a lot of people that talk about Neo, but I know that Neo has a cult following.
Yeah.
Those games do, because of the Ninja Gaidens. They're like very, they're realistically, in my opinion, I always say they're like some of the early Souls game when when Ninja Gaiden came out on Xbox back in the day.
Yeah.
Black or whatever it was. Those games turned into kind of Neo at this point, and being that it's the same folks, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, this looks awesome, but is this going to be teetering on like, a pretty hard, challenging difficulty?
Right.
Because that's my only apprehension, because we know I ain't got no patience for that.
Right.
So like I'm curious. I want to see and know more about the combat like we're looking at here. Are we going to get the Souls comparisons? Are they going to get the Ghost of Tsushima, kind of comparisons?
I'm hoping it's more accessible like Ghost of Tsushima. I don't care if it has. I don't care if it has like little bits and pieces of Soul stuff.
Sure.
But if it's more accessible, where I'm just like, okay, I can explore this world and have fun,
right,
and be engaged with the combat. And when a challenge presents itself, I'm cool with like getting serious for a minute. But then let me go back to fucking around.
Right. I don't want to rip my dick off playing a game. No thanks.
So we know that Rise of Ronin will feature a complex storyline. It takes place in late 19th century Japan. We're going to have a variety of weapons, melee and ranged weapons, various combat stances and styles, a parry system, stealth takedowns. You can use a fucking glider to drop down and attack people. You can build relationships with other characters. And there will be multiple. The game was created with multiple playthroughs in mind. So it's encouraging you to go back and play through it again, try out different stuff, because you're going to be able to kind of like affect the story or how people react to certain things. And I dig that, man. I think that sounds cool. I think this looks really good. But, man, in the middle of March, you've got Stellar Blade after that. You've got some stuff coming up before. You got Rebirth. I mean, I just can't see you being done with Rebirth by the time Rise of Ronin comes out. Where you can be like,
as slow as I play games these days, yeah.
I mean, that's going to be really, really difficult. But, no, I think it looks good. It's more appealing than what I thought when they first announced it.
Same.
But I remember you mentioned it when we were talking about it. You were just like, once Ghost of Tsushima came out, I felt like there was just so many people trying to make games like that.
I feel like every time somebody catches lightning in a bottle, like a genre like spike with everybody trying to clone that. And I felt like this was that. I even kind of felt Sekiro was, but then it ended up being more of a Soul style. But, who knows? We'll see. I mean, truth be told, Team Ninja and these guys have been making ninja games for a long time. So if anybody is probably, it's like I always said when Uncharted came out. Uncharted came out and did what Lara Croft did early on and did it better. And then 2013, Lara Croft came out and said, hang on a second.
I can do that.
I can still do this. So, you know what I mean? That's how I kind of feel like this might be. So.
Did you hear about the confused Robin that didn't join the fight when he was told to? He said, send who? Samurai. Oh, Samurai.
Fucker. That fucker.
I caught it.
You silly boy.
All right, so moving on from that, another title that we knew that was being worked on. We knew it was announced. I think it was kind of hinted at a year ago, but we finally got to see more from Ken Levine, who was the creator of BioShock.
Lead singer Maroon 5.
Lead singer Maroon 5. But he opened up a new studio called Ghost Story Games, and this is his upcoming title, and it's called Judas. Now, there wasn't a date released in this trailer. There might have been a window at the end. I can't remember. But according to a Take-Two earnings call recently, it does have a release date. They're scheduled. They're trying to have it out by March of 2025. But dude, watching this trailer, so many BioShock vibes, especially when it kind of shows you some of the gameplay. You got that. You kind of use like those steampunk weapons. Then you've got the magic and abilities that you're using. So it definitely has that BioShock look to it with its art style and the way that he creates his worlds. I'm curious about it. I agree with Brian. I want to see more of it.
Yep.
But Ken Levine has shown that he is capable of conjuring up really thought-provoking stories and mixing it with really fun, engaging gameplay, very unique gameplay. I thought this trailer was good at kind of piquing my interest, but like Brian, I want to see a lot more like gameplay and how these story missions are going to play out and more about the characters involved. But I thought overall, it was a nice reveal. I knew that he was working on something, but we hadn't heard a whole lot about it. But today we got to see a little bit of gameplay. We got to see some story elements to it. I think this looks dope. I was a huge fan of the BioShock games, so anytime Ken's going to come together and try something new that's going to have the same aesthetic and the same kind of like elements to it, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Did you like the BioShock games?
I played through probably about half of BioShock.
Mm-hmm.
It comes back to that first person thing for me. Like,
yeah.
I loved and it was also actually one of those games because I felt it was kind of creepy. Like I felt like my anxiety would spike on me.
Yeah, it is. It's a creepy fucking game.
But it's again the first person games like that. Like either they get old or I lose interest, or it's just a hard sell for me now. That being said, I recognize that I love the art design. I think the concept is fucking cool as shit. Like,
yeah.
There's times where I actually, like if people don't realize that I've rarely been called out on it, but when I ask somebody to do something for me, I will say, "Would you kindly?"
Would you kindly, please? Yeah.
Right, and people don't usually catch up on that. I've had one person I think point that out to me.
Dude, anytime I hear somebody say that, I'm just like, I want to ask him like, are you doing that on purpose?
Right. So I definitely do it on purpose. But
I want to give you credit, but if you're not, I'm going to say you're a fucking loser.
But no, I mean, this looks cool. I don't know if it's anything I would jump into, but I would certainly watch people play it or whatever it is.
So if it's slated for if Take-Two is currently slating that for March, then I'm assuming by Game Awards or sometime this fall we'll have probably another PlayStation State of Play where they'll kind of do like a deep dive into how they've done some of these other titles. So I thought that was an interesting reveal. I was kind of excited about that. Tone, look, man, I know we're in the minority, but we are fans of VR gaming. Big fans of VR gaming. And today, we got a trailer from Vertigo Games, who is working alongside, I think, is it Monolith? Can't remember who the developer was of, I don't think, maybe it is Monolith. I can't remember. The developer of Metro. They are making a Metro Awakening VR game that'll be on PlayStation VR 2, MetaQuest 2 and 3, as well as Steam VR. It's going to feature an all-new Metro story. The one thing that I've always... Is it Monolith? Oh, Deep Silver. Well, that's the publisher. That's the publisher, though.
Yeah, I remember seeing Deep Silver, though.
But anyways, so, like, the gameplay here, man, first of all, Metro games are fucking wild. Like, those are really immersive, difficult, like first-person shooters with a lot of stealth elements to it. And, man, this game looks fucking really good. Mm-hmm. Like, it's funny, man, because they ran this VR trailer out, and then immediately after they ran this other one out that was like a knight fighting, and I was just like, oh, you had to follow up Metro? Like, this looks really good. And, like, we've seen games now, Red Matter and Synopsis and other titles on PlayStation VR 2 that shows that you can kick out a visually stunning game on PSVR 2. And, man, when you take something like fucking Metro and you put yourself in that, 'cause, I mean, it's already an immersive game. Like, it really is. It's a very just deep, intense game. And to put yourself in those shoes, in those Russian environments and the tunnels and the subways and shit with all the creatures that are around, that looks fucking dope, man. Like, that looks really, really good. I just remembered I am partnered with Deep Silver, but I can't bring myself to play Payday 3. Dude, I have that downloaded still, but I don't even know, man. Like, I don't even know if I want to turn it on.
You got other stuff coming out this fall or spring.
It sucks, man. It really sucks because I was really excited with Payday 3, but it was just like they had the issue. I don't think it was so much the game itself, like the concept of the game. It was the fact that the servers were shit. Whoever they went through with their servers was just, they weren't prepared, and it was a total fucking mess. And they ended up having to switch over to another provider. So I mean, that took a lot of downtime and tweaking things. They weren't able to like really work on the game because they were trying to work on the infrastructure of the online portion, and it just kind of pushed everything. Yeah, the third parties.
Yeah, they were running, I think, out of Oklahoma or something.
They weren't prepared for it at all, and they just proved that they weren't capable of doing it. So they had to get like a whole new third party of provider, and then port everything over to their servers. And in the meantime, that just constantly pushes back content or anything that they might be working on, because you got to get that stuff configured on the new servers. And it's unfortunate, man. Like I was really bummed about that. And at some point, maybe one day, Cuddles and I will just be like, you know what? Let's go fucking play it. Let's go play it. Let's just see.
You won't.
Let's just see.
Maybe.
I'm hoping, because I really do love that game, man. I do the series, I mean, because it's such a cool idea. But yeah, that thing was kind of fucked from the beginning. We'll talk about live service games here in a minute. But Tone, the last game that we want to talk about, we got a lengthy trailer for 9 minutes.
Was it 9 minutes? I was close. Okay.
9-minute trailer for Death Stranding 2.
9 minutes of erection.
Dude, now look, I have not even come close to finishing Death Stranding 1.
Oh, weird.
I know, right? But I mean, from when I played, I was like, this is cool. I'm just wondering how long it's going to keep me captivated. And obviously not very long. But you did run the credits. You were able to see the finish of it. I know you think very highly of that game, even though it's kind of a divisive game. Like, some people really love it, some people fucking hate it. I know you enjoyed it. Seeing this trailer, man, how do you feel about Death Stranding 2?
Oh, I'm excited to see what kind of weird shit we're getting into now. Like, that's the thing about the first Death Stranding, is I get that it is a unique concept, but it also requires, which I rarely have, is patience, and it's hard to explain the gameplay overall, because the game the entire time is meant to be like meta in some ways as well too, especially because of the pandemic. We were just coming out of that, but also just to be, really weird storytelling that's pretty typical of Kojima. Yeah. He's always had just like slivers of it in the Metal Gear series. This allowed him to really go quite extra with it. But this trailer looks really fucking sweet. Like, you're seeing some of the characters. I'm already kind of wondering about some certain things because the way it concluded in the last game. Honestly, as soon as I saw a character, I'm like, is that who I think it is? Is that Higgs? Is that Troy Baker?
Yeah.
Fucking looking like David Bowie, Kefka, the guitar player. So it definitely is still going to be very weird. And like I said, I know this kind of storytelling isn't for everybody. I totally get it here as well too. And I also have a thought process even on why they're colored like that as well too. But anyways, I digress. I'm excited. Like I said, is it the most fun and engaging game that probably anybody could play Death Stranding? Absolutely not.
But is it thought-provoking?
Is it thought-provoking? Yes. Is it very, like, spooky and, like, one of those rare games that spike my anxiety when BTs attack or whatever? Abso-fucking-lutely. Especially when you're hearing shit through the fucking microphone.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Like, so, he likes to create experiences. He likes to be, otherworldly, meta about things, and I'm sure it's going to be the same, and I'm always going to be here for it when it comes to Kojima-san.
See, man, like, I'm pretty sure I didn't get far in the game at all, because, like, in this trailer, he walks into, like, an armory, and there's guns. I don't even know if I came across guns. Are there guns in Death Stranding?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is there combat like that, like shooting combat?
Fuck yeah, there is.
See, I didn't even get, I think I got to the first boss fight I got to, I don't know if it was a semi-boss or whatever, but it's the one where you're in the small town and there's that black stuff everywhere, kind of like, and you're jumping on rooftop to rooftop, and there's some kind of like huge creature. I think that's the only boss I ever got to, and even then, I don't remember having a gun. I was just like, man, this is just not really thrilling, But I mean, I remember, dude, this little fucking puppet thing, that shit's hilarious, dude. When even its animation when it moves around, it's kind of creepy.
Purposefully, like stunted or whatever.
Yeah. It was just, but again, this is the sort of shit when you get a Kojima game where you let him to kind of like go outside the box and really kind of like come at you from different angles. You're just like, what the fuck is this puppet doing in this game?
When you play anything outside of Metal Gear Solid, typically, especially these days, because that was what he, his flagship for so long. You just have to have an open mind. That's just really what it is. You got to like weird shit and weird storytelling, and I'm weird, so there it is.
How many hours did it take to complete the first one?
I probably put in, I don't know, 50, 60 hours maybe.
Oh, really?
You
Wow.
can, I mean, and that, I mean, I'm just guesstimating right now. It might have been more than that, truth be told. You can put so many hours into that, like rebuilding things and, working with the strand shit.
Where's that
nonstop.
shot that was fucking incredible where he's like, I don't know if he's on a moon.
He was not on the moon. He's just probably in some like wasteland.
I mean, when they show the shot, it looks like he's on a fucking moon.
That's
like,
probably when he's on the beach, and that's why I'm curious when they're talking about the beach on this as well too, because that all ties in.
this looks
like,
dope here. Like
yeah.
the effect. This is obviously the Decima engine that they use for Horizon when that bridge collapses
Yeah,
during
man.
this flood. These spots are always eerie as fuck for me.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful shot. But there is one where he's walking and there's like a moon or something in front of him.
Yeah,
There's
it's
your
the actual moon.
BTs.
Yeah, fuck that.
There it is. That is
That's-
fucking
Yeah.
an incredible shot. When I
Mhm.
saw it, I was just like, dude, that's fucking wild, man. But
Yeah.
no, it looks, like I said, man, it looks compelling. It looks captivating. It looks fun. That's fucking George Miller,
Yeah.
the director of Mad Max, playing that character.
Mhm.
I don't know if he has an extensive role. Was Del Toro big in the original, or was he just kind of here and
Yeah,
there?
he played a point of character that would help you with certain explanations and things, and he was your point of contact to explain or work
Was he
with.
kind of like a narrator, so to speak?
No, you would talk to him from
he give
time
you
to time.
missions and stuff.
Kind of like he would explain certain things because of the BB unit that you had on him, the baby.
Mhm.
He was. I think he had he was involved in like either creating them or whatever it was with that. So, he was a pretty big part of it at times for sure.
Yeah, dude, this looks there's a combat. Like I said, I never got to the weapons combat, so I mean, like I said, man, I was just like, I don't know if it's gonna get me. And then I see this, I'm like, but dude, I just gotta see this guy. Like Troy Baker looks fucking hilarious, man. Like not hilarious, like he just like creepy, like hilariously creepy. Like he's got this Joker thing going on.
Yeah, he looks like Kefka to me in a way, which is from Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
But
and the thing that I love about what Kojima does with his mocapping is like he gets those little mannerisms
mm-hmm.
so well that allow Troy Baker to give this character so much kind of like charm. Like I mean,
the crow
just like,
too. Yeah.
I mean, he just has like these interactions that you're able to capture, and it's just like, dude, that's
very
fucking
crow.
wild, man. Yeah, dude, exactly the crow.
Got the guitar and everything. So,
But no, I thought this looked good. I mean, I have to finish the first one. I can't just jump into this one. But you're pretty excited about it?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got the collector's edition for the first one. If they do another collector's edition, something wild for this one, I'll probably have to pick it up. I don't buy collector's editions for video games these days, but I usually give him Kojima gets a pass on a lot of things. So
No, I dig it, man. No,
Bowie Crow, there you go. Yeah, Bowie Crow.
Bowie Crow.
Yeah.
And so we had those trailers. So and there were several other trailers throughout the show that looked, except for Foam Stars, dude. Look, if you want to sit there and make a game that's like Ghost of Tsushima, that's fine. There's a lot of different ways to do things a little bit differently and to make it different.
Sure.
Foam Stars is a blatant fucking ripoff of Splatoon, and every time I see it, I'm just like, shame on you,
get
Square.
mad.
Shame on you for that fucking just deliberate ripoff. And it's a Plus game. I'm not downloading that shit. And then I thought it was hilarious where you're like, watch this become like the next big like streaming game. I'm gonna be so fucking mad,
It's
dude.
the next fucking Rocket League.
Oh my god, that Foam Star was like fucking terrible. All right, so Tone, the last thing that they did is, of course, Kojima finished up with Death Stranding 2, but then they brought Kojima on for another announcement. And it is a collaboration between Kojima Productions and PlayStation Studios. And Kojima is going to create a brand new IP for PlayStation, an action espionage title,
Stealthy title.
a stealthy action espionage title, which
sounds
sounds a
like-
lot like Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, fuck you, Konami.
Right.
I can still make this. I'm just not going to call it Metal Gear.
Right.
But Kojima described this as a culmination of his work, and he hopes to transcend the barriers between film and video games. Now, look, if there's one thing that Kojima has always been a fan of, it's movies. Obviously, the people
Huge
he
fan of
interacts
movies.
with, Del Toro, George Miller. I mean, he is a
Peele.
Jordan Peele. He loves to interact because movies is where he draws all his inspiration from.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think they got Snake from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Snake Plissken.
Snake Plissken. I mean, he loves movies. He loves storytelling. And so now this is going to be interesting because supposedly this is going to be a cutting edge tech is going to be used for this. His idea is to bridge that gap between movies and video games. He wants to blur the lines where this is going to be an interactive game that's going to play out like a movie.
Night Trap.
I mean, dude, there you go. Now he did say this is going to begin in earnest after Death Stranding 2 comes out, or whenever that ships. It was supposed to be 2025. So that's when it's going to begin in earnest. So we're looking at like 2027.
Yeah.
Which he does say. Now that's the last thing I want to address, because Brian makes he is not coming out to PlayStation 6. After this video ended, it kind of did this panning shot with a drone where it went back, and you could see they were at Columbia Pictures,
which is
the studio for Columbia Pictures, and in the background you could see Columbia Pictures and then Fizzant. And so Kojima took to Twitter and he said Fizzant, which is the working title, will be the third new original IP since the establishment of Kojima Productions. It is a completely new action espionage for the next generation. Now, does he mean next generation of gamers? Or does he mean next generation of hardware?
Right.
It will be created using cutting-edge technology and the best talents from around the world, both from film and video games. Of course, this is an interactive game, but the look, storyline, theme, cast, acting, fashion, sound, etc. are all the next level of digital entertainment that could be called a movie. End quote. This sounds like a big deal. But yeah, I think Brian's right, man. I'd be really surprised if this is a PS5 title. But I mean, there's rumors that we're going to get a PS5 Pro at the end of this year, along with the second iteration of the Nintendo Switch. So with Death Stranding 2 not coming out till next year, and Kojima tends to take a little bit of time with his games. I mean, with Death Stranding, the first one came out, 2019?
Yeah.
2018?
Might have been 18. No.
Anyways, 4 or 5 years.
Might have been 18.
So if development begins in earnest once this game, Death Stranding 2 ships, we're looking at like four more years. So that's 2028, 2029. I don't think Brian's wrong saying that this is going to be a PlayStation 6 title.
Very possible.
Because he wants cutting-edge tech. He wants everything to be... He wants to blur those lines between playing a video game and watching a movie. And as good as the hardware is now for them to create these games and the graphics cards are out there, we're not quite there yet to like really be like, holy shit, that looks ultra real.
Right, and I think he's always had aspirations of movie making. Cuddles makes the joke that some Metal Gear games were more like movies because of the cutscenes. You know, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, certainly, you know, it was an hour and a half end cutscene for that when we rolled credits at 5 a.m. So certainly it is, he's a storyteller.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is the closest he may be able to get to that outside of actually, like, you know, being able to direct a movie, but somebody's got to care, fund, or whatever. This is his way of doing the Kojima way, which is like transcending a little bit the two, blurring some lines and figuring out how to do it maybe his way, which, you know, I mean, again, with Kojima, there's a lot of people that don't care, that, you know, don't understand or whatever it is. It's not for you, and that's perfectly fine. But for those that do care, like, this is like, holy shit, this is an evolution of, you know, his work. So, and he talks about culmination and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong, he's pretty big on the grandiose of those words a lot of times too.
He is.
That's part of the love that you have with him as well too. But you can't ever say that he isn't a storyteller, and that's a thing for him mostly is right away is storytelling, whether it's weird or not, in dialogue.
And I've heard, and I remember a couple of reports. I'm trying to remember when that came out, and I don't know if it was directly from him, but there were a lot of people. Some people were speculating like he's getting kind of close to a long career. And you know, if you look at this, like Cuddles pointed out, November 8, 2019 is when Death Stranding 1 came out.
That's when it was, yeah.
It's probably safe to assume that we're looking at fall 2025. And if that took 6 years, that's at the very earliest 2030. And because, you know, you look at like a game like Death Stranding, I mean, Kojima's not going to go out and make Death Stranding with all the motion capture and all the nuances that he has with his games. His stuff is very planned out, and he's very meticulous about things, very detailed. If you look at that, I mean, he's already been in the business for 40 years?
Yeah.
You spend another 6, 7 years, and he said this is going to be the culmination of all his work. You're looking at possibly this might be his last game.
Possible.
Which is crazy to think because the guy's been around forever. But, man, how fucking busy where does he have time for this?
I mean, you see him on Instagram, right? he's always
at the office.
And this is starting to make sense with this now too, because think who he's had hanging out at the office a lot recently.
Yeah,
movie stars.
Yeah,
all the last year,
Yes.
tons.
Yep.
Keanu. I think I even saw Frodo Baggins recently. What's his fucking name?
Oh, Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. I think I saw recently as well too. So he's putting some framework down for something.
But I mean, he's got Death Stranding 2 he's working on. He's working on that OD game for Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has another collaboration set with Sony for this action IP or action espionage.
And who knows what he hasn't
IP.
announced yet as well too.
I mean, damn, I didn't know a studio was that big where you could just sit there and take on multiple projects. I'm gonna call it a night. See y'all later. Hey, Panda, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Have a good night. But yeah, man, this was exciting news. I mean, just the fact that he's going back to action espionage. Fuck yes.
There we go.
I mean, I'm there for it, dude, every single time. But overall, dude, overall, how would you grade the state of play?
State of play. I'm actually sitting at like. Man, it's a tough call. I would say for me and my enjoyment, because I was actually dialed into most stuff, I'm looking at like an A minus.
You going with an A minus? I'm gonna go with a B plus.
A minus. Yeah, I was thinking maybe a B plus, but I'm putting it over the edge because I feel like I was dialed into pretty much everything that they showed.
Yeah, the only spots they lost me a little bit was Foam Stars.
Liar.
And Foam Stars and the other VR game.
The other VR game.
They ran out after Metro. I was just like, oh God, like why?
But the reason I still kind of go over the crest from the B plus was because Rise of Ronin really surprised me seeing more of it, because now it got me interested. And that honestly, that Stellar Blade, like I was, and we didn't even see a Metro VR game coming at all. So.
In 1986, he was hired by Konami for which he designed and wrote Metal Gear 1987. Yeah, close to 40 years already.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time to be working, man.
That fucking game is hard. The original Nintendo Metal Gear game.
Yeah, it's
fucking hard.
It's very, very difficult. It's not known for being a very accessible game for a lot of people, even at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, yeah, I think B plus. And don't forget, next week there'll be another State of Play tone where they're gonna jump into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I'm sure you'll have your pants around your ankles for that one, bud.
That's right. Looking at Tifa Lockhart.
All right, Tone, we got a quick movie review.
Mm-hmm.
You and I had talked about this movie. It's something that kind of stuff with us. I don't know about you. I'm a big fan of Paul Giamatti. I think he's just got a certain way with his delivery. He's just got a way to kind of like grab the screen and just kind of like he speaks to you. He just, every time he talks, I'm just like, I just want to listen to this guy talk.
Mm-hmm.
He's just got a certain unique way of delivering his dialogue. But the Holdovers came out earlier this year. We do know Paul Giamatti
last
is
year.
Last year. Sorry, last year.
Sometime last year, yeah.
But Paul Giamatti is actually up for a Best Actor nomination with the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really intrigued by this. I mean, now when I watched the trailer, I was like, this looks like a very art house type of like independent film. I know it's probably going to be kind of a slow burn. But what I did not expect, dude, was just how funny this movie is at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like early on, the writing is very snappy.
Yeah.
It's very snappy, and like it really gives Paul Giamatti an opportunity to just make you laugh. Like with his delivery. Again, this guy is a cranky professor or teacher at like this very posh like prep school. And he's not liked. He's not. None of the students like him. He's kind of a son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But you just know there's got to be more to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's very against certain types of kids.
Mm-hmm.
He understands a lot of these kids are fucking entitled pricks, and he can't stand them. And he tells them that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just kind of wondering, like, what is this guy's deal? Like, why is he just so hard on people? And eventually you do find out later on what is kind of the driving cause behind that. And that's where this movie like really shines, because first of all, it starts off, again, there's a lot of humor.
Mm-hmm.
There's some character development, kind of get an idea who the kids are, because basically he's this teacher who gets held over to stay back during Christmas break, because there's obviously some kids that don't have anywhere to go. They can't go back home. Their parents are out of the country or whatever. So they got to stay on campus. So you got to have a teacher stay back. And so he's the one that's assigned this task. He's not happy about it. He doesn't get along with the kids very well, though, especially the ones that he's watching. And Crash's Holdovers was incredible, an instant classic, such a well-acted and well-written story. I adored the connection between the central three characters. Yes, Angus, Mary, and Paul Hannum. You felt their bond grow through. I mean, here's the thing. These three characters are all very unique in their own way, but they're also very connected. Mm-hmm. Each of them is dealing with something that has traumatized them, that has made life very difficult for them, and it's something they can't quite shake off and move on from.
And in the darkness, they are each other's light.
They really are. They really are. They kind of lean on each other. They kind of give each other, support, and in that way, they're able to kind of move forward and deal with their inner struggles. But dude, like I said, man, like it's just this is Paul Giamatti's movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't get me wrong. I think Divine Joy Randolph is great as Mary, and she has some very great scenes. She's basically the cook at this school. Her son died in the war at the time, and so like she's grieving through this process. And then you got Angus, who's the student. He's got stuff going on with his family, especially with his dad, and how his mom has kind of like handled that situation. So and then obviously with Paul, you find out what his backstory was. And it's just, dude, it's just, but again, this is an acting tour de force by Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
I thought he was fucking incredible in this movie. The kid playing Angus, he holds his own. He does okay, but it's just every time you watch this, you're watching this for Paul Giamatti.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I thought this was a great movie. It starts off with some good humor, like I said, snappy writing, but then when it kind of like explores everyone's backstory, that's where like the emotional part of the movie hits, and it's very effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm going to probably go in a little bit of a different direction on this one, because the one word that keeps popping into my mind that I feel about it is that it's very raw.
It is.
And I will be very transparent about this. This movie made me pretty emotional at times.
Oh.
And because it was really dusty and I was still sick.
Yeah, totally.
One of my all-time favorite movies is a movie called Dead Poet Society, and I got a lot of vibes of that through this. I also love another movie called Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito, and of course, all of them. You've got Danny DeVito, you've got Robin Williams, you got some great funny and levity, but this movie kind of pulled some of those strings that those movies typically pull for me, especially Dead Poet Society. Dead Poet Society is something like if I'm watching that, typically I got to watch it along because I want people to see me bawling like a bitch, because I will. Like that movie really fucking grips me hard. And this movie did that for me as well too, because as you're starting it out, like you're saying, you're seeing kind of the fun. You're starting to see like the archetypes of the characters and things like that. And I was quite surprised that it narrowed down as fast as it did, truth be told. But once it did, I got why.
Are you talking about when all the kids go on the ski
right? Everybody
trip?
takes off on the ski trip and things like that. And I'm watching this movie and I don't know why or what it was, but there are times in storytelling in movies like this where, again, it goes back to being raw, where it's so just fucking absolutely real. It's written so strongly.
Relatable in ways.
Yeah, like when you take a character like Hammond at first. Is Hammond right?
Hammond.
Yeah, whatever.
Hammond.
Yeah, right. And at first he's going to be the dick teacher, and you're watching this movie, you're like, fucking, I can already see where it's going to go. I don't like the guy, right? But then you start peeling back the layers, and you're seeing how fucking vulnerable he is, and he's trying not to do that. And the more and more you get whittled away at it, the more and more he's openly revealing his vulnerability.
Yes.
You don't see a lot of movies these days, I feel like just written so well like this, where it does engage you because you're actually in real time getting to see these characters like evolve and do that. And for whatever reason, like I said, those movies always kind of like grip me a little bit harder and kind of get me in like I don't know if it's an emotional state or if it's a mental state. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate with like growing up with my high school teachers that I was really close to some of them. We grew up in a small school. So like some of these teachers were like, even nowadays, like when I see them, I consider them friends. They don't want me to call them by their last name anymore. These are people like I see in a character like this, maybe not in the bitter sense and all this stuff, but like you start to realize when you get to know those teachers past just being your teacher, that they are a person as well too, because you start to kind of have that, emotional tie there. And that's how I felt kind of with this as well too. Like he's just a grizzled old guy that's had a shitty fucking life. To him, it's a perfect life, right? But then because of the antics of this kids, he's starting to realize that, maybe he's looking at things through the wrong scope. And, all three of the characters start to see that through each other, through the way they spend time with each other. So it's a very heartfelt, heartwarming. Is there some great levity in it? Absolutely. There's some fun spots and things like that as well too.
Some spots, man, where I seriously busted out laughing. I was like, man, he is a prick.
There is some funny shit going on as well too, because Paul is an amazing actor. He can do all of it. And at the end of the day, when this movie rolled, I was just like, I felt like that was some of the best time I had spent watching a movie. I kept looking at the time. I'm like, I didn't want the movie to end.
Yeah.
I kept looking, and it's a 2-hour movie. So for some folks, that's going to be a long burn for that kind of storytelling. 'Cause
Right.
like I said, it's not for everybody.
Right.
But like for me, I was just like, I didn't want it to end. And man, yeah, I see why people are winning awards off this one. I'm really impressed with this writing, and knowing that it came out in 2023, this is probably now in like my top 3 of movies that came out last year.
I know it's what, yeah. That's why we're trying to go back and check some of these films, because there were so many movies came out last year, so many good movies that we were like, man, we got to check this out because this is probably gonna be what our audience is gonna watch. We want to be able to talk about it. But you go back and you revisit some of these gems that kind of slipped under the radar. And then you see, Golden Globe nominations come up, Paul Giamatti Oscar. Now I was like, fuck, okay, I gotta watch this fucking movie. So I'm glad I did. It's an excellent movie. Paul Giamatti is a tour de force. He does a fantastic job. He shows that he just has incredible range, and everyone else is involved. Like I said, this is a trio of performers who have a great way of conveying certain feelings and how certain events have traumatized them, and how everyone reacts a little bit differently to certain traumatic experiences. And it was just it's a great flick. It's a great flick. So if you're ever sitting around and you're just looking for something to chill and think about and enjoy, The Holdovers is a fucking awesome choice.
Hits them all for me.
Big fan. So make sure you check it out. If you have watched The Holdovers, if you got thoughts on it, let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you liked about it, what you loved about it. What did you think of Paul Giamatti's performance? How do you think everyone else held up against him? I think everyone else did pretty good, but this is for me. This is his show. This is his movie. This is his showpiece, and he fucking crushed it. Let us know what you thought of The Holdovers.
Yeah.
All right, Tone, we're going to stick with, well, actually, no, we're not going to go to trailers just yet, Tone. We got to get to the news. What
I got to get a stack of papers.
is going on? I got to get that.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Something
That's
like
what
that.
you need.
News from around the realm.
The MTV sound.
So what we do with this segment, we just kind of like gloss over a couple stories that popped up during the week. We're like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Comment on that.
We're going to start with the first one, Tone. This is not interesting. This just fucking sucks.
You really fucking had to do this?
I wanted to get it out of the way.
I just exposed myself.
I
to
know,
my
you're already kind of emotional.
with holdovers, and now you're throwing
Here's your
Adam
fucking trauma.
Jensen.
Here's your trauma.
There's my fucking trauma. That's why I was crying Sunday. Motherfuck.
So this week, Embracer Group announced another set of layoffs to their studios. This time, Eidos Montreal confirmed that 97 jobs were lost. The studio employed 481 people as of 2022. So that's almost 20% of their staff got laid off. Now, look, layoffs are big right now, and it's really unfortunate. But there is another casualty here, Tone. And we do now know that Eidos Montreal was working on another Deus Ex game.
So Adam Jensen's out of a job. However,
Sounds like he wasn't even in it.
sounds like he wasn't even in it because last time we recently heard his voice was in
Oh, fuck.
Starfield.
That's right. But he also took to Twitter, social media, and said, look, if this game was in 2 years in development and I haven't been called for dialogue, or script, he goes, I doubt this was an Adam Jensen
said they
story.
didn't even page him.
They didn't even page him. They didn't even try to reach out to him. But, yeah, dude, a new Deus Ex game was 2 years in development.
Unreal.
2 years.
Unreal.
And it was canceled, along with almost 100 people laid off. This was devastating news. And Embracer Group just is continually reeling from that $2 billion deal.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, if that's really him subscribing, he just showed up at the right time because you want to talk about an Adam Jensen.
Oh,
super
the Jensen
fan.
guy?
He's a
Deus
huge
Ex
Deus
guy?
Ex fan. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, like, last year we know that Embracer Group announced that a $2 billion investment fell through. The Savvy Games Group is the party that backed out of that deal. Savvy is owned by Saudi Arabia's Sovereign Wealth Public Investment Fund. And after that deal blew up, Embracer announced that it was going to have to start restructuring and that it would shut down or sell studios and pause some game development. And by sell studios, they just mean lay off a bunch of people, and pause some game development means cancel the goddamn
these
thing.
Motherfuckers need to sell off these properties to other
Dude, that's
people.
what I'm saying. Like, look, dude, if you can't fucking make these games, sell the fucking Deus Ex IP to somebody who can.
You know who I want to get their hands on it?
Who's
'Cause
that?
Clearly, Square Enix didn't give enough shit about it either as a publisher. But fucking let's have Airship Syndicate pick it up. You know, they love holding stuff and putting some shine on it.
Well, that'd be a nice one.
They love RPGs anyways as well, too. And they'll
That'd be
do
a
just
huge
bunch.
gap.
Yeah, do that.
Oh, I see. I came in at the right
Airship.
time to throw an absolute. Hey, Forge, sound off, bro. Sound off. I mean, seriously, man. And This is just, I mean, look, there's no indication when this is going to end for Embracer Group. When that $2 billion investment deal fell through, that was it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They've laid off so many people, and now they're dude, like, look, I have to believe now at this point, unless they sell that IP, Deus Ex is now officially fucking dead. Because we were worried that it was. I think the last time anyone talked about this, they said they were just going to put it on the back burner.
Yeah, that was what. Yeah, they said that
it's going to be on the back burner for a while, but you never caught. But dude, this was 2 years in development. This thing is this IP is fucking dead now, unless they sell it off to somebody else or they sell off Eidos Montreal completely.
Somebody needs to pick them up. I don't know what the fucking Bracer's even doing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they're reeling. They made the decision to buy up all these fucking studios,
right?
Because they wanted to get into the video games and make that money.
They got in over their fucking head.
Didn't get the investment that they needed. Now they got to start fucking laying off people and canceling fucking IPs and games. That's what happens with all this fucking consolidation shit. And you try to get all these studios and all these IPs and all these developers under one umbrella. I mean, same thing's going on with Microsoft. They've been laying off a ton of people. Dude, they had their earnings report come out. They had like one of their best years ever.
Did they cut off Blizzard people, wasn't it?
Blizzard Interactive, like, I think, was it 1,900 people?
Yeah, 1,900.
I can't remember. That was a lot.
It was 1,900.
Yeah, 1,900 employees. And they just had one of their record years. So, I mean, like, look, man, everyone thought, oh, hey, look, they're buying Activision. Everyone will be fine. Nope. I mean, the industry is imploding right now.
Mm-hmm.
You see these layoffs happening fucking everywhere. Like, what are we doing? I understand the cost of games are going up, but you're making fucking tons of money off of them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Let's lay off 1,900 people. Let's lay off 20% of fucking Eidos and cancel a fucking awesome, probably an awesome-ass Deus Ex game. Yeah, like, look, I like Adam Jensen, but I like the Deus Ex gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who you put in there.
It's one of the first, or one of the few FPSs I do play.
Dude, I mean, for Christ's sakes, I mean, when's enough gonna be enough?
I don't know.
It's because of all the shovelware on mobile. He's not wrong.
That's where everybody's making the money.
It's just mobile gaming in general, man. That shit's fucking annoying. Like I said, it's just
eating itself from the inside out.
It was super disappointing, man, to hear about the layoffs because we don't want to see people get fucking laid off. And I mean, these are all talented developers. These people have made great fucking games, and now they're forced to go find a gig somewhere else. Now, look, Eidos Montreal staff management, they said they're working with the people who've been affected, and they're trying to make sure they're taken care of in the meantime. The reason they canceled the game this far is because it just wasn't Jensen enough.
Right.
Like I said, man, I love Adam Jensen, but I just love playing Deus Ex games for the RPG elements, the stealth elements, and the combat. Jensen's awesome, but I'll play a fucking Deus Ex game if it doesn't have Adam Jensen in it. I don't care. I love the concept of those games.
We need more.
We do need more, but we ain't getting it for a while now,
No,
dude.
they said, fuck you.
I mean, for them to cancel a game 2 years in development, this IP is dead. Now it's fucking dead.
No, yep, who knows?
Sell the goddamn studio or sell the IP and get rid of it. Embracer, nobody wants you around anymore.
Yeah.
You're bad news. You're tainted. You fucked up. Sell everything off and get the fuck out of the gaming business.
Sell Eidos
You're not
Airship.
ready.
Sell to Airship.
Sell to Airship. But yeah, man, that was super disappointing news.
Because we didn't even know.
No, we didn't know shit, dude. The last time they said anything about Deus Ex, we're like, it's on the back burner.
Yeah.
They're going to put it on ice for a while.
Right.
We'll revisit it at some point.
And then every time Forge and I hang out, like, that always comes up. Like, it'd be cool if they made another fucking Deus Ex. You know?
I'm going to eat this. Keep talking.
He says, the reason I'm so adamant is we got 2 games into an obviously 3-part series.
Obviously, huh?
You know? So, yeah, I mean, we need to finish out Adam Jensen's story. But I don't know why Eidos is doing that without Adam Jensen. I don't know what the...
I wonder if they're trying to make something smaller scale to see if there was any interest in something bigger.
Well, the problem was, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, and this is why Square Enix was a shitty fucking publisher for Western games, is because they didn't market them or push them at all.
And they had shitty expectations.
They did a shitty job putting money behind promoting them. You think they put a fucking penny more extra towards any of these other ones that they're doing for like Final Fantasy or Kingdom Lame? No, they don't do that. No, they don't.
Literally told the developers how much we loved Human Revolution. You told the developer? Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
talked about? Oh, man.
Because GameStop, we do the
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
GameStop. So
yeah.
like when Eidos would be like there and shit like that, Eidos is always one of the ones I'd stop at. So I went up to him one time and said, "Dude, there's like a handful of us that fucking love Human Revolution."
Now, here's the thing, man, and I don't know if maybe Forge did or you did. When Human Revolution came out, I played it right away, beat it right away.
Mm.
I was like, this game is fucking rad. But I do remember the boss battles were a little weird because they had contracted those out. It wasn't made by the developer, the boss battles. They contracted those out. So that's like if you were built more towards stealth,
Right.
you went into the boss battle at a massive disadvantage.
Right.
Like because you weren't like fully built
Because you had to be
for
ready
it.
for the combat.
Because the people who were making the boss battles didn't have all that other information to take into consideration. They're just like, hey, make this guy this, make this girl that, and we'll put it into the game.
Mm-hmm.
They outsourced that. I did say rad.
Say
Radical.
I say it all the time, bro.
I'll say radical if you want. I'll go full
I say
on.
it all the time.
But I do know after, I don't remember if it was 6 months or a year after, they had was it a director's cut?
There was a director's cut.
Where they went back and redid the boss battles completely.
Mm-hmm.
So that you were more inclined to be like, okay, you want stealth. Yeah, yep, exactly. There was the expansion. They made like a director's cut where they went in and pull out a windbreaker. I actually have one, and maybe I'll wear it next week for you, Cuddles. But yeah, they released a director's cut that fixed all that. And I never played it again to see how different it was or how I could bring a stealth character and be a little bit more successful.
Yeah, Forge probably replayed it a few times, I think. So,
but like, Forge, if you did, like, how much different were the boss battles? I mean, were they significantly different, or was it just like little tweaks to allow you to go in there with a certain build and not be at a complete disadvantage?
yeah, because that was the thing about the last boss. Matter of fact, now that you say that, because I was built pretty heavily stealth, and it was a tough fucking battle because I wasn't ready for that kind of combat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I kept hanging around in the fucking the duct system, and you kept seeing me and shit. I'm like, you fucking cock.
Yeah, and then I remember Mankind Divided. Loved that game. The final boss battle was so lame. I was I remember walking after beating that game. I was like, "Fuck, this thing was so close to being perfection." But the boss battle, the final boss was that dude. I can't remember what his name was, but I was like, "This is so." It was so lame.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was anticlimactic, and it was just really easy.
Yeah,
like it wasn't super well thought out. But now, I'm curious to get anyone's thoughts. If you were able to play Human Revolution. I did, and it was completely different. It made it so you could complete the boss battles with Ghost and Pacifist intact. See, that's fucking awesome. Now I want to go back and fucking play it.
I always think about going back and playing them
because
too.
I do remember playing that. Distinctly remember playing that, going, "Oh god, this just feels so." I'm like, man, I just can't do anything to these bosses. Mm-hmm. I ended up beating it, but I remember it was just so frustrating. And then I remember reading the story about how they outsourced it. I was like, that makes a lot of fucking sense.
Not to mention, it was also in Detroit.
It was in Detroit, and that was dope about it. So that was pretty sweet. But let us know your thoughts on Embracer Group. I mean, should they just take everything away from them? You don't deserve to be a fucking publisher. You don't deserve to own these companies. Take it away from them. You can't have. That's why we can't have nice things.
That's
because the kids are always breaking the toys.
Truly why.
All right, Tom. Moving on. So this week, Suicide Squad and Kill the Justice League came out in early access. There's a lot of people who are very curious about this game.
Well, we played what was
played
that?
the beta or alpha or whatever
something
it was.
like closed, whatever.
I didn't come away overly impressed. I didn't like the combat.
I deleted it.
I thought Cuddles made a good reference the other day. I was talking to him about it, and he said, it kind of played like Crackdown. I was like, you know what? It did. And I liked Crackdown. I thought it was fun. It was stupid.
Yeah, it worked in his world, though.
It worked in the way it was set up. I thought that was cool. But, dude, this is fucking Rocksteady. Okay? This is Rocksteady. They made some of the best Batman games ever made because of story writing and grounded combat. Yeah, you could swing around and shit like that, but I mean, it was mostly melee combat.
Mm-hmm.
This one, you're flying around with jetpacks. Like, everyone's traversal involves flying around.
Well, not only that, but every fucking character, all four of them, play so absolutely different that you've got to, like, and it's like a nuanced difference for, like, your traversal.
Yeah.
So it's not like you get to use a jetpack with Deadshot and then King Shark, and it's the same button. Like, oh, hit the R button, right? No, you've got to do something fucking completely different.
Yeah. But you're still doing the same thing, but you got to do something different to do it.
It's so fucking convoluted and unnecessary.
But I mean, like, look, I'm not ready to shit on this game because I really do want Rocksteady to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really, really. Oh, thank you so much, Roy. We appreciate you, brother. But I really want this game to succeed. I fucking want Rocksteady to do well.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want them to have a game film. Warner Brothers like, hey, we got to shut you down. We got to sell all your. You got to get rid of your staff.
Embracer's buying them next week.
So a lot of people were curious, like, what is this game going to be like? How is it going to do? Is it going to be well received? Are people going to love it? Because we know now, obviously, this is a live service game. Another live service game with a big IP. And can they make something that you'll want to keep playing? Well, Tone, this thing did not start off well at all. This game is one of those games where if you buy the deluxe edition, you get early access, like 3 or 4 days. You can hop in early, start playing right away.
Like everything, yeah.
The moment this fucking game went live in like New Zealand, people were logging in to play, and when they logged in, it said, congratulations, you beat the game. And they completed the whole fucking game. Like, you were done with the game. And everyone was like, what?
Yeah, it's a $99 version of the game.
So immediately Rocksteady's like, whoa, sorry, nope. And so they pulled the servers down for 6 hours. And then they did a maintenance the next day for like another hour or so. So disastrous launch right out the gate. Thank you, Cuddles. And immediately everyone's just going, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not only were we unsure of what this game's going to be like, is it going to be fun, is it going to have a good end game, but we can't even get this thing off the fucking ground.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple days go by, and Rocksteady comes out, and they're just like, hey, you know, we fucked up, and, you know, we recognize that you've been patient with us during our initial launch server updates, and we'd like to show our appreciation for your patience with a special gift of 2,000 Luther coins. Yeah, that's nice.
Mr. Luthor.
Some in-game currency? Oh, okay, I appreciate that. You can buy one legendary skin for 2,000 Luther coins, which tells you a lot about how the fucking in-game...
That's 20 boners.
In-game currency is going to work out, and how much the skins are going to cost.
And how much this game's going to fucking fail and lose money because of it. Can you say Marvel's Avengers? I mean, for fuck.
Dude, like... And here's the thing I want to ask you, Tony, and I want to get you guys and girls' thoughts, too. With the exception of Digital Extremes and Bungie and even Hello Games with No Man's Sky, there have been very few live service games that have lasted more than a year. We've seen several big IPs. Marvels, crash and fucking burn. Anthem, crash and fucking burn.
Almost out the gate.
Right out the gate. I have to, and with the way these games are going in terms of like their cost to be made, how much longer is the live service model going to be sustainable for anybody?
I think it goes back to the mobile thing that we were saying. Honestly, like that shit is eating so much up, and the thing is like they keep wanting to use these big name IPs for this live service shit. Yeah. And nobody, and like you can't. Like, I get it. You want to have that, but the problem is, it's fucking polishing a turd. Yeah. You've got a great IP, but how about we build a fucking good game first?
Yeah.
How about we go there and say, I've got this great idea.
Got a story.
Maybe we should add. Maybe we could add. The live service too. But like even like like a Ghost Recon Wildlands. That was a kind of a live service, but like whatever. I still think it was better than Breakpoint. And I like Breakpoint. I just feel like it worked better, you know, in that sense. And they had problems with that from the getting going as well too. So I don't know how long these live service games. Listen, if you're not like seriously like trying to be like a full on MMO in some way or having engaging content, you're not going to last. The thing that these games like, especially again, go back to Marvel Avengers and this one, they're trying to charge. They want to charge you for cosmetics, which I find is fine if that's what you want to spend the money on.
Yep.
But the problem is they're not doing it at a fair price. Halo Infinite is the same fucking way.
Yeah.
They want to charge you fucking $20 for something or $15 for something. That's a fucking quarter or third of an actual fucking game for a stupid cosmetic. And sometimes you can earn other ways to get them, but it's a long ass fucking process that nobody ain't got time for. So they know they're going to get you because guess what? It's the mobile game mentality again.
Right.
But there's no substance.
No, there's none. And I mean, we do know that the story in this game is 9 to 10 hours at the most.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're like, okay, well, there better be some fucking end game.
Yeah.
The gameplay loop better be there. Because, look, I love Justice League and I love DC. But if you don't have any shit there for me to play, I'm out. And I'm going to be pissed I dropped $99 and $69 on the game.
You move to the next live service games that come out 2 weeks after.
And that's why it's so important to have a fucking game plan of how you want to do stuff. And I like what Cuddles just said. I will die on this hill, but if I pay a full price for a game, I'm not paying $20 or more for skins. Go back to the old way where you wanted a cool skin, you had to do something in game to earn it.
No, it's literally because you know what this all goes back to. And mobile gaming is a big piece of this. This all fucking goes back to fucking Rockstar.
Yeah.
This all goes back to Rockstar. This all goes back to fucking GTA Online
yeah.
and selling fucking shark cards.
Yeah.
And then everybody, 2K, this developer, stubs for fucking MLB, all this shit. Oh, fuck, these guys are making hand over fist they bought a game 10 years ago and they're still making money off it because people want to buy a new fucking car and game. Not every game is fucking Grand Theft Auto Online.
Right.
Guess what? You know what I mean? So, yeah, they need to go back to the old way. They need to figure something out. But we need to stop being in this thing where the game industry is more worried about how much can they stretch the fucking buck instead of creating good content. And that is part of the reason why I'd rather spend money on single-player games and get 25 or more hours and not worry about it. Because now I don't invest time in a game for 20-some hours and be fucking done with it.
Right.
And move on to the next.
And see, I can't help but wonder if that's why you look at somebody like Activision. I mean, obviously they didn't lay it off, but they just canceled a survival game. A game, by all accounts, basically what I was reading online is like some of the the journalists in the industry had heard that this game was actually really fun to play. Like it was testing really well internally.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I don't know. I'm assuming it probably had some live service elements. It's Activision, so they're going to want to get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you look at like what Sony has done, 2 years ago, they're like, oh, we got 12 live service games planned between now and 2025. Naughty Dog fucking killed off their live service game.
Yeah, that's going to keep happening.
Because I think these publishers and these studios are like, we can't do this.
Mm-mm. Listen, like Fortnite come up as well too. Some of these games, like the battle royales, do like even Call of Duty to some ends.
Yeah.
In that sense, the way they got their battle passes set up, you can either earn it or you can pay for it.
Yeah,
and that's fine. They've found a good method for their live service, and I don't think that's too bad and too much to ask for, honestly. No. But it's these other ones that are trying to be hybrid games, live service, pseudo RPG. 9 hours of fucking story gameplay content. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You want to be a live service game, you better come swinging at this point with a game like this to be more like World of Warcraft or something at this point, because you're not going to sustain. You're spending all this fucking money for all this fucking shit, and then you want to charge everybody, because you decided to buy a big IP, because you decided to fucking give us a half-ass game, now you want to charge us $20 for a fucking Superman skin. Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
You tell him, Tone.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. Now, look, the reviews aren't still out. Yeah, I know VGC, they gave it 4 out of 5 stars, said they really enjoyed their time with it. They had a lot of fun with it. But even then, it's hard for me to trust some of these reviews for a live service game that you're not going to know if it was worth your time until you've spent 30, 40 hours with the fucking end game.
That's how you know.
Is the fucking gameplay loop going to be there? I can sit there. Dude, when Anthem first came out, when I was playing it, at first, I was like, oh, man, this is fucking sweet. I'm Iron Man. This is kind of fucking rad. It looks good, sounds good, fun to play. But, man, that gameplay loop came to a halt real quick. We were just like, there's not a whole lot here.
No.
Not a whole lot here. Cool at first, but once you realize how shallow the experience is, then you're like, nah, man, I paid too much fucking money for this.
Right.
And I feel like that's where live service games are right now, man. And when you have a community who is like, fuck yeah, let's go, game comes out, fuck, this is bullshit, and like you said, bolt to the next game, that fucking studio has to work overtime, damage control, to find a way to make their shallow-ass game deeper before everyone just fucking quits.
Yep.
Thank you so much, DBZ. Appreciate that.
Welcome.
But no, it was just it's disappointing. But again, I'll wait to see reviews, and I want to hear what people say about it. It's hard to get excited about this right now because the beta was underwhelming. They had issues at launch. 9 to 10 hour story, not long enough for me. Not in a DC game, it's not. Especially after playing Arkham and things of that nature. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not look. I spent a lot of time playing Destiny, but even then, I was just like, I'm more out. But that's so rare to have something like Destiny, where you can sit there and play it that long and constantly have enough stuff to be like, okay, I'll keep going. But that, dude, for every Destiny, there's 5 or 6 Anthems or Marvels.
Well, it seems like Rocksteady didn't have a lot of faith in it because they didn't want to give IGN a code, and I don't want to dive too deep into that.
They didn't give a lot of people codes.
That says a lot.
Yeah, they didn't. Like IGN didn't get a code at all. A lot of people got their codes like yesterday.
Yeah, that says a lot. So.
Get it out before the game drops to the public in 2 days.
Yeah.
So
Zero
I don't
faith.
know. Cuddles played WoW for 2 decades. There's a way to do it, and there's a way not to do it. And the way not to do it is the greedy way. And these publishers and developers and whatnot, they're finding out the hard way that you can't just do that. All right, Tone. Last bit of news we want to talk about. This is actually fucking hilarious. Obviously, we have our opinions on Sony's handling of the Marvel properties, specifically Venom. And what was the other one that we just watched with Jared Leto? What was that one? Mobius. So, obviously, not great movies. I mean, they made money for some fucking weird reason. A lot of people went to go see it because they liked it. But coming up, the next title is Madam Web. I think it comes out in a week or 2. I actually haven't even seen the fucking trailer for it. I know they dropped a trailer for it. But it stars Dakota Johnson. Disney's not doing much, but they ain't doing this bad. By Disney standards, Disney's not doing great.
Disney's not tripping.
They're
before
not
the
doing
door
this.
Yeah, Disney's not tripping before the door opens.
Yeah, this is bad. This is really bad. So, anyways, Dakota Johnson came out. A story broke recently that Dakota Johnson had recently signed with a creative artist agency, marking a significant move for the actress per Variety. The agency will represent Johnson across all areas. Now, she was with somebody else before that recently, but she left, dude, for an actor or director or anybody like that to just walk away from their agency, somebody that's been with them for a while, but like for them to just up and walk away, something had to have happened. And that probably is related to the story that she had talking about the production of Madam Web. And here's what she had to say. I've never really done a movie where you are on a blue screen and there's fake explosions going off and someone's going, explosion, and you act like there's an explosion. That, to me, was absolutely psychotic. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be good at all. I hope that I did an okay job. But I trusted Clarkson, the director, and she added that, noting that she regularly checked in with the director throughout the shoot. She worked so hard. She has not taken her eyes off this movie since we started. But for her to come out and just be like, man, this is fucking weird, and I hope this doesn't suck, and then she switches agencies purportedly because she was so fucking pissed that she was involved with this movie, because she knows it's fucking garbage. Really not ideal marketing 2 weeks before launch.
That's not a good PR look at all.
The optics on this are not good.
Right.
And, I mean, dude, by all accounts now, I mean, if she was that unhappy making this movie where she left the agency that was representing her, and then she has this to say, like, I don't know anything about blue screens, can't wait to see her performance during the heavy action CGI stuff.
Right.
I mean... I am actually considering going to see this just to see how bad and how awkward she is in those moments. But Jesus, can Sony do anything right with these properties anymore?
It always comes back to, and I said this so long ago, Sony, everybody wants that MCU money, at least especially early on. Like, you know, they want that. They want to create their MCU or whatever. You know, this is part of the Spider-Man pantheon and stuff like that. There are ways to do it, especially with Madam Web and the whole web thing. And it's definitely a multiversal thing that they could, yes, do if done well. The problem is that Sony's non-video game divisions, their movie divisions, are so fucking hit or miss with this shit and just can't fucking get their shit together on it. They're dropping the ball nonstop. Like, listen, the first Venom it's all right. It's an all right movie. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it could have been better. It was far from great. It wasn't the worst movie I'd seen. The Carnage one after was pretty fucking awful.
It was bad.
It was not even okay for me. Morbius was a fucking joke, like a complete fucking joke.
That ending though, remember the cutscene with Michael Keaton?
Well,
What?
at least the best part, you have Michael Keaton involved. But
Yeah.
I mean, this in theory is like a pretty intricate storyline at one point, like in the comics, and I believe even some of the cartoon and stuff like that. But this is a pretty big piece of it. But like why Sony is continuing to they're just trying to replicate, but they can't do it. They don't have the proper people involved. They're not sitting down and coming up with a plan.
Yep.
They're throwing shit at the wall every fucking time. They're like, well, since it's a villain of Spider-Man or an alliance of Spider-Man, we can make a movie about it, and they're just throwing it at the wall.
Yeah.
And that's all they're going to be able to do. And they need to literally just have Sony knock it off. Stick with the animation, stick with the video games, and if you're going to make a fucking movie, just let the Feige and the team come in and at least hold the reins.
Yes.
Make your fucking movie money check because you own the rights since you won't ever sell them back. Just take a couple zeros at the end of the check.
Yeah.
But have the right people come in and at least try to take a swing at it, not this horse shit. This is fucking stupid. And I'm sick. Listen, Disney's the same way with these fucking blue screens. I am so sick and tired of the oversaturation of CGI.
Oh my
and I know
God,
it's
dude.
not going back. But, when you see movies that do use practical effects, it just makes you appreciate those more.
Fuck
Even
yeah,
if the
dude.
movie's shittier,
Yeah.
it doesn't fucking matter. At least you have more respect for it. Like, the making explosions, all this shit. God fucking damn. So
If I remember correctly, I think this movie's tracking to just do fucking terrible. I don't think it's tracking to do well at all. There's literally no fucking buzz about this movie. It comes out in like a week. I think 2 or 3 weeks. Like at the very minimum 3 weeks.
I think they're going to try and keep saying that
Or at the
people
most.
have like comic book fatigue, and I do think there's a degree that's true. But we're also seeing the DCEU, which half the time can't produce squat either,
Right.
and Sony back to back. And we had Aquaman that apparently is, I think, the worst DCU movie yet, or something like that. I don't know. At least what I read, something like that the other day.
It didn't do well.
And now Sony's coming out with another bastardized something because they want to make money. So, like these guys, like it's not just the fatigue. It's also that you got fucking people coming out there trying to do the same thing, but can't reach a good level to be able to do that, whether it's CGI story or, apparently people that are giving you bad PR now too. So
That's seriously
Fuck
just a worst case scenario for your PR team. Like, how do we fucking correct this?
how do you put that fire out? Good luck.
But that is going to do it for news from around the realm. And we enjoy the segment because it allows us to talk about and make fun of shit that just stands out like crazy, or if it's heartbreaking like Embracer Group.
Scratching.
Which is, you going to be okay? Be all right?
It's just
Probably
so,
not.
It's just so fucking dumb.
I know.
It's just so fucking dumb.
All right, Tone. We've got a trio of trailers, and then we'll get on to our final topic. But these are trailers that we really want to watch and discuss with everybody because the two of them are actually pretty good. Two are pretty good. The third one will segue into our final topic of this evening. But, Tone, we got our another official trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is due out next month. Next month, or well, no, we're not in February yet.
Mid-March?
So March. So I'm like,
March.
in an hour and a half, it'll be in a month. The Marvels and Aquaman 2, 3, like, who is paying to watch these? I mean, somebody is, dude, and it's a fucking shame.
Marvel's did. Yeah.
Let's check out the trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Let's get to work.
Tall, dark, and horny at 12 o'clock.
I've been waiting 40 years for this. They called themselves Ghostbusters. According to these hacks, they saved the world. No eyewitnesses. And who is found to carry the torch? Descendants of Egon Spengler. You have a miner hanging out the side of a moving vehicle, firing a laser gun indiscriminately.
Has a proton pack.
It's completely safe.
I wouldn't say completely safe.
The Ghostbusters are finished.
Right, well, overruled.
Sustained.
Thank you.
You the weird guy who buys strange old things?
Correct on both counts.
Buddy, you just hit the jackpot.
What is it?
Better question is, what's inside of it?
The parables tell of an unimaginable evil commanding an army of ghosts. With the power to kill by fear itself.
Like literally scared to death?
We might be looking at a second ice age.
We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Let's get to work.
Can I be of any help?
Melnitz in uniform. Yes.
If there's something strange, if there's something weird, what are people gonna call?
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
We're the Ghostbusters. Can I tell you something else? What? Buster makes me feel good. It makes me feel good.
Heads up. Tall, dark, and horny at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, they better cross some streams. Yeah, you're darn straight
Cross
on
those
that.
streams, Sparky.
There you go. There you go. Honestly, like, listen, I know we were just saying about it as well too. You know, the cartoon's not canon. Clearly, you know, they're different looks for the characters, but they're very highly revered. People do love them.
Oh yeah,
it's a great cartoon. It's a cartoon I watched a lot as well too. Had some of the action figures, and they said they took inspiration from like the cartoon for this story to kind of give it more of that like. Really, I think, I don't know, actiony or just like maybe more of a cartoony feel with it.
Honestly, man, and I'll let you continue that. Like, I get this darker vibe.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
It's a lot darker than what we've seen in previous Ghostbuster movies.
Yeah. So you know, hey, listen, I clearly love Ghostbusters since I was a kid. I enjoyed Afterlife a lot. I think it was a good revival of the series, and I think that this is another good entry to keep following that as well too. I've barely met anybody in my life. I don't know if I've met anybody in my life that said they don't like Ghostbusters, and if they've said that,
They're probably a psychopath.
They're probably doing a fucking bit, and it's old.
But I was happy to see Walter Peck.
Absolutely.
Everyone's favorite EPA
I didn't know
agent.
he was still alive, to be honest with you.
I did not know William Atherton was still alive as well. But I'm glad to see he's in this. Obviously, the original cast, the crew, they're there. And they're obviously going to play a bigger role this time around, which is awesome because that was the only thing that Afterlife bummed me out. I was like, we didn't see, I mean, I remember sitting in the theater, we were watching it, I'm like, okay, dude, this movie's like X amount of time, and we have like 10 minutes left. I'm like, this is going to piss me off.
We're back. You know.
So we're getting a full-on ensemble, fully involved old crew. Melnitz is back. That's fucking awesome. I thought it was a good trailer, man. I also like great casting for Patton Oswalt as kind of like Ray's like little sidekick.
Yeah.
And Ray's the cult. I think that's, dude, that's a great handoff.
Yeah.
If he's going to take over Ray's the cult and like kind of be a part of that team. I love Patton Oswalt. I think he's fucking hilarious. But no, man, great casting. I love what I seen here. I get like it's gonna be a darker Ghostbuster story because like there's like people like shattering in ice. I'm just like,
yeah.
It's pretty fucking
You're seeing
dark.
actual death, but it looks like hopefully Slimer, because from the cartoon, if you
Yes.
recall, Slimer was actually a companion.
Yes, he was
so
kind of a
hopefully
buddy.
maybe this time he'll be more of like a companion as well too. I think that would be a great.
Dude, I was like, that was the other thing that kind of bummed me about the first one. Was like we didn't see like we saw that other thing that was like that ate the metal, and that's what they chased. I was like, it's like a descendant of Slimer. It's like a
the
cousin.
Dollar Tree version of Slimer. Like, what's up, bro? But hey, to be fair, he was probably in New York.
Hey, you know, that's where he likes to work. That's where he likes to hang out
and eat hot dogs.
I dig it, man. No, I think this trailer looked good. I'm really excited for this. I am just pissed Paul Rudd is Highlander and never aged. I know, man. He seriously looks like his first movie was Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers. You go back and watch that now and see now you're just like maybe a wrinkle or two. It's like, how do you fucking do that, bro? It's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
Crash says he's concerned the amount of characters that they have in the movie gives shades of Jurassic World Dominion with the entire OG, and I don't think that's a hot take again. So you're once again not being very consistent.
Yeah, clueless too.
But you've done nothing but trash Ghostbusters for a few months, so your opinion, no.
I'm telling you, man,
void.
if you're not Walter Peck at the Middle Mall Comic Con, you've failed.
Definitely failed.
That's who you need to be.
You definitely do.
I think Clueless actually came out the same year as Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers. Maybe a year before or a year after, but it was pretty close to the same time period. And he does, man. It's like you're like, you don't look any older. All right, now this next trailer, Tony, you haven't watched it yet. This is the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. And, dude, I think Jay Hill sent me this trailer. And I watched it. I was just like, this looks incredible. Like, I'm on board. Now, look, Henry Cavill, I will say that, you know, I think he's good on screen. He knows what he's doing. but he's never been the type of person that has ever been like pushed to like go outside of his range. He's always kind of like the same person with little tweaks here and there. But this one, unhinged Henry Cavill. Let's check out the trailer for the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Gus March Phillips, I have a mission I want you to lead. Thank you, Sergeant.
What's the plan?
To neutralize the German U-boats in the North Atlantic.
We're losing the war.
Hitler is not playing by the rules, so neither are we.
We both know that I'm not very popular with the administration.
The reason they find you unattractive is the very reason I find you attractive.
If I'm to do this, I'll need my own team. You won't like them. They're all... mad.
They'll need to be.
This is an unsanctioned, unauthorized mission. If we fail, England will be condemned to a lifetime under the German boot.
And so I said, that is not a dog. That is my wife!
It's very good.
You and your operation are reckless.
Abort this mission now.
Hello? Can't hear you. Please do off.
That's what happens when you have a fucking idiot in charge of production. Thank you. Appreciate that. Apologize for all that. I don't even know if the next one's going to work right. I hope it does. I think it will. But going back to this, Tone, this looks fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. Henry Cavill looks like he's unhinged and having a good time.
Looks like he's having a good time.
And, dude, fucking violent. I don't think this was like an official Red Band trailer, but based on what we saw, yeah, exactly. Kingsman vibes, and it looks fucking dope, man. It looks violent, looks hilarious, great cast. Carrie Elwes,
man.
I mean, this looks fucking sweet, dude. Like, legitimately excited for this on April 19th.
Like you say, he looks like he's having a good time, and I feel like he's been cast into these like
Cuddles.
stoic, very debonair, or these different types of characters. He's got to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Clearly, especially with like Geralt, you've got to be that. That's just how a Witcher is, right?
Yeah.
With Superman, he's got to wear himself a lot differently.
Yep.
Maybe this is the first time in a while, or maybe even the first time where he can just be like, "Hey, have some fucking fun," because he looks like he's having a fucking.
I mean,
blast.
it almost looks like it's one of the the directors just like, dude, improv.
Yeah.
Show me what you can do to be a fucking goofball. You got to be a maniac. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a director going up to Nick Cage. Do you?
Yeah.
Just let it go. We'll use what we use, and we'll throw away what we don't want to use.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fucking sweet. Big fan of this trailer. April 19th, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare from Guy Ritchie, starring Henry Cavill, is it Carrie Elwes and Isa Gonzalez. So I think this looks fucking sweet. Can't wait for this. What I can wait for, Tone, is this final trailer. This is going to segue into our final topic of the evening. But let's check out the trailer for, oh, God. Oh. Not this one. Boy, I really fucked this up. Bad.
I've
I've
actually sent away for a spider monkey to come here and do his job. Thinking maybe
I mean, it's possible. Director was
time.
like, Henry, remember how you felt about season 3 of Witcher? Just act that out. It's a valid point. All right, on to the final trailer, Roadhouse for Amazon Prime.
Before we start, do you have insurance?
What?
Your coverage good? Like, do you have dental?
Oh, haha.
Is there a hospital nearby? Is it, like, too far?
About like 25 minutes, I'd say.
I just slapped you. Are you all right?
What?
So you like to fight? You ever win?
No one ever wins a fight.
This ain't the Holiday Inn, pal.
I'm moving.
A friend of mine suggested I come talk to you. I own a roadhouse out in the Florida Keys. Lately, it's been attracting the wrong clientele. I can pay you good money. Judging by your car, you need that.
Well, I like my car.
Think about it.
I know who you are. Elwood Dalton. Big fan, man.
That guy's got a knife under his shirt. You just take a big step back and pop me in the face. You can do it.
Tell me about this bouncer.
Yeah, it's all nice, like he's Mr. Rogers or something, but then he'll haul off.
Really interesting guy, overall. Brand wants to take the roadhouse away from me. He wants to build some resort.
I should warn you. People have a certain way of getting things done around here.
Hey, fellas. Looks like you're having a smashing night. Dalton! I got a tip for you. Don't let no one get this close.
Let me guess. You threaten me? Tell me to get out of town? I get the impression that you can't be threatened.
Once Knox is on the job, it's over, baby.
It takes a lot to get me angry, but when I am, I just can't let go. People seem a little aggressive around here.
Is that one a friend of yours?
No, I just broke his arm.
Okay. Okay. Let's take a deep breath. I'm going to preface this. I'm going to preface this by saying, first of all, I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a fucking amazing actor.
Yes.
Like super talented, like underrated and super talented. Second of all, I love Doug Liman as a director. Born Identity, Edge of Tomorrow, Swingers. Guy knows how to make a good flick. You know, especially when you lean into the action genre. But first of all, I'm not a Conor McGregor guy.
Yeah,
okay? I can't stand Conor McGregor. Not at all. But dude, for something like Roadhouse, and I'm sure it's just because I'm older. Roids will do that, and he wondered why they wouldn't let him come back to the UFC until he drug tested clean. I mean, like, look, I grew up through the 80s, so I have an appreciation for 80s action movies, and I do feel like there are certain things that people forget about what made 80s movies so fucking endearing. It was the simplicity. It was the people involved, the direction, and the actors. It could be the most simplistic plot, but there was just something about it, whether it was some levity or just the way, the absurdity of the situation. And when you blend all that together and you just have that 80s vibe, these movies just resonated with me. And look, Roadhouse is not a fucking masterpiece movie.
No.
It's not an Oscar movie, but it is a fucking dope-ass 80s movie. A fucking amazing 80s movie. Patrick Swayze is fucking awesome as Dalton. Sam Elliott shows up halfway through and serenades you with his voice. Love Roadhouse. This trailer pissed me off. It pissed me off. I was just like, no. Bingo. And Sparky, that's something we're definitely going to talk about in this segment. And I want to get everyone's thoughts on this shit. Because I feel like it's always been an issue People have always, I mean, for the last 20 years, remakes. The fuck, this one sucks. Oh, this one's good, blah, blah, blah. But it's always a point of contention.
Yep.
Either they love it or they fucking hate it because it bastardizes or it's disrespectful of the source material.
Yep. No, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say this trailer does nothing for me. I'm going to watch it because we're going to have to cover it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch it. But, dude, the minute I feel like it is just nothing near as good or as simple yet entertaining as the original Roadhouse, I'm going to get fucking mad. I'm already going to get mad when Conor McGregor shows up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go back real quick here. I'm a big MMA guy, so I like the idea of the story, updating it. We will see if it lands or not, though. That's why Top Gun Maverick did as well, played on the same principles. Exactly. What if it wasn't named Roadhouse and it was his own movie? Dude, that's a different story because it is called Roadhouse. It is called Roadhouse. If I saw this, if it was a different movie, I'd be like, this looks dumb because Conor McGregor's in it. Okay? Now, if you want to keep moving around the goalpost, say, well, what if Conor McGregor wasn't in it? I'd be like, well, then I'll probably, be, oh, it looks interesting. But you got a douchebag in the movie, and it's a remake of a fucking movie that I happen to adore.
And a classic.
It is a classic.
A classic.
Never seen the OG. Don't care to watch this one. Conor McGregor seems like a prick. I don't want to see him. Conor's my... Hey, and like I said, man, that's why remakes are such an interesting conversation because some people think something looks good.
Right.
Compared to something that other people are like, oh, that's shit because the original's better.
Now, I didn't hate the trailer when I first saw it. Now that I'm seeing it again, I'm still... I don't hate it. I think it's mostly because of Jake Gyllenhaal. And the action looks kind of cool. Now, that being said, if you don't know this, and maybe you do or don't if you are not in the Discard, but one thing that was a rule in my home when we had roommates back in the day was if you were channel flicking, this is Cappadocian, the rule was you had to stop and watch Roadhouse if it was on, if you were channel flicking, at least give it 10 minutes of time or watch the whole fucking movie. That was the kind of respect that you give Roadhouse, right? That's what it is. And it's exactly what you say. The 80s movies had a certain trope. They were a certain way. It was the simplicity. It was the action. And it was even the absurdity.
Yeah.
And some things just don't need that. Now, I get if technology can be a constraint. I understand sort of things. This was not a movie that said, technology held us back. We should make a new one. No, that was not the case at all. This does not need to happen.
Let's just move it to the keys.
Does not need to happen. So I just, I'm gonna watch it. Like I said, I didn't hate the trailer. I'm gonna assume already, and maybe it's wrong for me to do that. It's probably not gonna be good. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are gonna say, yeah, probably shouldn't have remade that. But
and look, I'm gonna give it. Like I said, I'm gonna give it its fair shake in court. I'm gonna give it its day in court and watch it. And and if I'm wrong, if it turns out to be really good and really entertaining because it's got good writing and maybe Conor McGregor isn't a fucking loser in it, I'll be like, oh, hey, you know what? I was wrong. This is actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. But, man, like you said, it's not like fucking the 1987 Roadhouse was a movie that was screaming for a fucking remake due to limitations. You had a big star in it, and Patrick Swayze at the time. I believe it was a Joel Silver production, so you knew you were going to get high-quality stuff there. I mean, it was a typical 80s action movie that just ascended over time. The only thing that would make me feel better about this film is if Conor gets held up, his stuff. Right? Yeah. What's that big guy's name when the bear falls on him? I can't remember what his name was in the movie, but that was hilarious.
See, that's a slippery slope, Jay Hill, because the title is already on the fucking movie.
I'm going into it not even thinking about the original thing and its own thing. And like I said, I respect that decision.
Yep.
Amazon Prime movie, so it already lost 3 points. I mean, you take that into consideration as well. The types of movies they've done. I'm going to go into it, but it is called Roadhouse, so I can't just be like, well, it's not called Roadhouse. I mean, Jay Hill, give me a movie that you loved growing up, that you really enjoyed.
Why don't they just call it Boathouse?
No, I want Jay Hill to answer this question because I'm gonna call him out if he answers it the way I think he's going to answer it. But give me a movie that you loved in the 80s. Absolutely loved. Or any movie. I'll wait.
Call it Boathouse.
Something that is near and dear to your heart. Or that you really enjoyed.
He's going to say Tootsie. I feel it.
I'm waiting.
Just something about Dustin Hoffman in that wig. I don't know.
I'm waiting. Face Off. Okay, cool. Face Off. They say they're making a Face Off remake. And it's got Give me somebody you don't like in professional sports. That's not really an actor. Who's somebody you can't stand? Somebody that you can't stand. Give me somebody. Anybody. Somebody you absolutely can't stand. Jake Paul. Cool. Starring Jake Paul and let's see, somebody who's a good actor, but maybe not as like Nick Cage great. But anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal. We'll say Jake Gyllenhaal, Jake Paul in a Face-Off remake. You're going to go into that thinking, I'm not going to worry about the title, but I'm going to go in enjoying it. Don't tell me yes, Jay Hill. Don't tell me yes. There's no fucking way. And I won't believe you if you say yes. There's no way. But that's why it's also different for everybody. So you have to understand like why I am not happy about this Roadhouse, because you have a shitbag like Conor McGregor, and it's a movie that didn't need a fucking remake. Face Off doesn't need a remake.
Oh, well.
Man, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I mean, hey, that's
fair enough, buddy. Fair enough.
But I want to get you guys to go thoughts on this trailer, but I also think I want to talk about is remakes in general. What are some of your favorite remakes? Now, keep in mind, when I ask this, I want to know because if you've seen the original and the remake itself. I want to know what one stood out to y'all. I'm going to go first. The first one that I think of, dude, and it's one that came out recently, and I fucking love it. And I used to watch the original because my grandpa used to watch it. And I was just like, I wasn't a John Wayne guy growing up. I was like the Duke. I was like, okay, cool, it's whatever. I think the thing about this is I'm a huge MMA guy, so I kind of want, and that's fine. And that's I get that. I get that. But I'm just saying, like, take something into something that you really enjoy and then have them fucking just tear it apart and do something different. You're not going to go into it thinking, I'm not worried about what it's called. But again, that's different. It's different for you. Maybe you don't like the original as much as I do or other people do. Top Gun Maverick absolutely killed it. But I mean, that's not really a remake. That would be a reboot, or is that
a revival?
A revival. A reboot to me is like something like let me see here, True Grit. The original True Grit with John Wayne came out, won all sorts of awards. I think he actually even got nominated. It was like his only Oscar nomination. And then the Coen brothers did True Grit, and it starred Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Haley Steinfeld, Josh Brolin, Barry Pepper. I mean, you got a sweet cast. Now, this movie is not only more respectful of the book, more closely tied to it, but it is just, in my opinion, a better movie. It captures the essence of the original, but it is a better performance from, I thought Jeff Bridges was incredible as Rooster Cogburn, and Haley Steinfeld went toe-to-toe with him in every scene with her, like, her feisty tenacity. She was really, really good. And the movie got nominated for 10 Oscars. Didn't win a single one, which is a bummer. But Haley Steinfeld and Jeff Bridges got nominated. Also got nominated for Best Picture. I thought True Grit was a fantastic remake in every fucking way possible. I fucking love this movie. Going back and watching the original and having seen the original, I was just like, man, this is such a massive upgrade from the John Wayne movie. And even though that movie was a huge hit, has a huge following, I felt like this was infinitely better. Huge fan of this movie, Tone. What do you got?
Well, I did the opposite of you.
You did the opposite. You want shitty remakes.
I went with shitty remakes since you did good remakes. I'm going to start off with, once my thingy loads. Come on, thingy. First one I want to talk about is a really quite recent one as well, too. Was Hellboy 2019.
Ugh.
Dave Harbour was actually fine in it playing Hellboy.
It seems like a role that would be built for him.
But the movie was pretty fucking shitty. I mean, you already had it quite established not long ago that with Ron Perlman in it and Guillermo del Toro, it just felt like a dollar store version of that. There were some decent scenes in there that was kind of cool when he picked up the big sword, which was very close to the comics, and there were elements of it that felt very, still like it was good, close to like the graphic novel stuff, but it was very few and far between being.
JL says you haven't actually seen that. You haven't seen the new Hellboy or the one with Ron Perlman, the one that came out before that. If you haven't, see it. It's awesome. Hellboy and Hellboy.
Hellboy 1 and 2 are fantastic.
They're fucking with Ron Perlman. Don't see the David Harbour one. It's pretty bad.
The remake there with Dave Harbour was not so good. I mean, you had Ian McShane in it, and he was completely wasted as well too.
That's right.
Parts of the CGI look good, and then parts of it was really fucking awful. So
yeah, it wasn't a terribly. I mean, the new one. I mean, honestly, man. I mean, see it if you want to. If you got spare time to give away.
Didn't do well with a lot of the fans.
Yeah, it's just kind of a garbage movie in general.
Yep.
Just not very good. Which sucks because I love David Harbour. He's a fucking amazing actor.
So.
My next favorite remake. Well, this is no particular order. It's just the three that really stood out to me. 1982's The Thing, a remake of 1951's The Thing from Another World. This one was directed by John Carpenter, the horror master himself, starring Kurt Russell, Keith David, and Wilford Brimley. He's got the diabetes. I wonder if he had it back then. He probably had it then.
Didn't eat his Quaker oatmeal
He
till
didn't
later.
eat his Quaker oatmeal. But the reason I love this movie is because I have actually seen The Thing from Another World. It's black and white. And it was a decent, it was a somewhat decent flick, but I think the thing that makes the thing that makes this version, the 1982 version, superior is because back in 1951, they simply did not have the ability to create the practical effects that 1982's Thing is known for. And it made the movie that much better. It was grotesque. It was terrifying. There were several really intense scenes that weren't quite, a lot of the stuff is also reinterpreted a little bit, but like overall as a remake, oh my God, like this, you can tell this is one of those movies where it benefited from the time jump, having that 30 years of improving, things like special effects and things of that nature. This is a movie that thrived off that, took an awesome premise, an awesome story, and brought it forward and made it more compelling with the practical effects and the acting and the performances. This movie is fucking awesome. Huge fan of The Thing, and it's one of the best remakes out there,
One of the best movies of all time.
It's really one of the best horror films of all time, man. It's fucking amazing.
I mean, I can criticize one thing, but we're not going to go there right now. Next up for a movie that I don't get a graphic for. I don't know what that's all about, everybody, right?
I didn't get these ahead of time.
I didn't get any fucking graphics. No. This is a mix of it when I say this. Now, I want to say, by preface this, is that I actually don't hate this movie. There's some elements that I actually really liked. But it's not like I don't even know if it's really a good movie.
Me neither, Crash.
But RoboCop 2014.
Yeah, I know you've spoken about that because you're a big fan of Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, and I think Michael Keaton did a great job in it as well too. But RoboCop did not need to be remade.
Yeah.
RoboCop also back in the day used a lot of practical effects. This movie was more trying to be dark and real, and it missed all like the satire and the levity.
Oh, another Paul Verhoeven film, and I'll mention my version remake of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you know what I mean? So like I said, I actually don't hate this movie. I've actually watched it a couple of times, but I think overall with fans and everybody, like it could easily have just not happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair.
And to go, I'm gonna piggyback off this before I get to my next one that I really adore. I'm gonna go to my shit remakes, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I completely forgot about RoboCop. Had that satire, that self-awareness, the levity mixed in with the awesome violence and the typical action stuff. The 80s was renowned with their action movies to have some form of levity, some self-awareness, and usually a villain that was a little bit more charming than you would expect from a villain. You know what I'm saying? Another movie just like that, another Paul Verhoeven film, Total Recall.
Oh, yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall was fucking awesome. It was satire. There was dark humor. It was ultra violent. It was a fucking sweet, absurd 80s action movie. Awesome film.
Great film.
You come back to the new one with Colin Farrell, who's a great actor. Kate Beckinsale, she's bae. But it was completely devoid of all that fucking humor. The satire. It didn't have it. It tried to be dark and gritty and more grounded. I don't fucking want that, bro. You can't take something as absurd as Total Recall and try to like squeeze it into this fucking surreal, gritty setting. It just doesn't work because the first one was so effective and so good at it. Nobody went to the Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger and said, man, I hope they redo this in 20 years and make it fucking gritty. This sucks. Like, there are, man, I completely forgot that the guy in RoboCop who falls out of the building is the same guy that's,
he's in.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
Paul Verhoeven loved him, man.
Yeah.
Would Jumanji count as a remake?
Yeah, because
I think so.
I think originally it was a board game that got turned into a video game, and it was a whole different thing. I'd imagine, yeah.
Or is he talking about comparing the Robin Williams one with
Yeah.
okay,
I think that'd probably be a remake.
The new Mummy.
That
of
is
Tom
also that's actually in like one of the worst remakes, like rated. Jay Hill.
Yeah.
Dread
now
was
the
a very
Brendan
good
Fraser
remake.
Mummy movie. I thought the Brendan Fraser one was good.
Yeah.
Because there was a Mummy movie before that inspired that one. So I mean, the second remake was shit with Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
The Brendan Fraser one was sweet. Dread was a solid remake.
Dread with Carl Urban is
infinitely, dude. It was hilarious because I just messaged you about a month ago. I was outstairs watching TV, and all of a sudden, Judge Dredd with Stallone was on, and I was just like, "This movie is fucking trash."
Yeah,
a week later, the new one came out. I was like, "So much better."
I think because I loved that movie as a kid. I just don't hate the Stallone one. I get it, but the Dread one is so fucking good. So,
going on to my final choice for one of the best remakes. It Chapter 1 specifically. It Chapter 2 is fine, but It Chapter 1 was just such a massive improvement over the series. Now I understand the series was a limited series and whatnot, but it's a remake nonetheless. We'll talk about. I think Evil Dead's a good one to discuss as well. I mean, like I said, man, I want to get you guys and girls' thoughts, man. There's the Evil Dead remake that I know people don't hate that movie as much as a lot of people thought.
Once
they were
I
going
saw
to.
I was like, I actually like it a lot.
Evil Dead remake is actually really good.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
And it does capture still some of that Raimi magic. So I thought he did good there. But like the It Chapter 1, I loved it because it wasn't as corny. Everything outside of the Tim Curry performance in the original It is really kind of hard to watch.
Yeah.
The kids side of it is still better than the adult side of it. But this one, the kids were really, really good. They had great chemistry. It was more closer to the source material with the books, with some of the stuff that they showcased in this movie. And you know, the biggest thing, obviously, when this movie was announced, was like, how is Skarsgård going to hold up and fill the shoes left behind by Tim Curry?
Well,
and I thought he did a fine job. Like, he did a really good job making that character unique to himself.
Yep.
He was still terrifying, had a little bit of levity, not quite as over the top as Tim Curry, but effective nonetheless. And I really, really appreciate that because I felt like this was the best iteration of It to make it on the big screen or even on TV. So I was really appreciative of it. I thought this was a really, really good remake and something that really benefited from maybe some extra time, some extra budget, and not being restricted to the small screen.
Creepy. So I've got. How do we want to do this? Because I know you've got a couple that you said are shit.
I already covered Total Recall. The only other two recent, and I know somebody covered Nightmare on Elm Street. That movie was fucking terrible because, again, if you look at that Nightmare on Elm Street, the recent one, I can't remember the actor's name.
It's the guy that played in The Watchmen as Rorschach.
Haley something, Joe something. But anyways, he gets cast as Freddy Krueger and tries to go this super dark, fucking like just demonic Freddy Krueger. And dude, you can't do that and not pay a little homage to
Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, thank you, Jackie Earle Haley. Like Robert Englund made Freddy so fucking awesome because Freddy was like, again, an 80s villain, kind of had some charmingness to him, had some levity, could make you laugh at some of the shit he said. Like, man, this guy's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
He didn't have that with Jackie Earle Haley. Just he had that weird. I was like, okay, your voice sucks, and and again, it's not so much his fault; it's the writing. Robert is Freddy, and Freddy is Rob. Simple as that, dude. Like, whereas where Skarsgård was able to kind of match up with Tim Curry, Jackie Earle Haley is now Robert Englund, and not in that role. What about Psycho? What they redid, where they went word for word, shot for shot with Vince Vaughn. Remember that? He played Norman Bates.
I'm a fan.
And Heche.
Sorry, I'm a fan of Hitchcock.
I actually didn't. Let me just go back. I thought the original one was really creepy. Again, I can't remember the actor's name, Anthony something, who played Norman Bates. He was fucking creepy, especially in that final scene where he's in the jail cell and like you get the voiceover of the mother talking, and he just has that look. I was like, this guy's fucking creepy. And what was that Seth Rogen movie that remade for Bruce from the Bruce Lee joint? I'll have to let you know that one.
Green Hornet.
Green Hornet. There you go. But like Psycho, I didn't hate the Vince Vaughn one. I didn't hate it, but I thought it was unnecessary. Didn't really need to go there. You basically just took this movie, like you said, shot for shot, word for word, everything identical with today's actors. Not necessary. I didn't hate it, but kind of forgettable because the original was just kind of like set that tone, and it's basically the same movie. It doesn't do anything to like set itself apart from it, and doesn't really do anything to like it's just the same movie. That I feel like that's just kind of a ripoff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If
Absolutely.
anything. So, but continue. You had some other ones.
Well, if you want, let's finish your two. Since you only got two up, just mention them, and we'll.
Two of the shit ones I hated were Poltergeist and The Omen.
Yeah.
With Liev Schreiber and Julia Stiles. The Omen remake is fucking garbage. The Gregory Peck one is infinitely better.
I feel like everybody kind of agrees with the Omen. At least I've heard that numerous
Dude,
times.
the Omen is fucking terrible. Like, it's really bad. And Poltergeist just doesn't have it. Again, tried to be too dark and like serious.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously the original Poltergeist was serious, but it's just that 80s charm, man. Like, what's Coach's name? The dad's name. He played Coach. Craig T. Nelson. Joe Beth Williams, just so much better. Every now and then we get a gem. And once in a while. And I didn't mind the Peter Jackson King Kong.
I actually love that movie.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was decent. I thought it was pretty good.
I really loved it, honestly. Big fan. So my last three here. One, I'm going to start with this one first. This one I refuse to watch because of principle and integrity. Is The White Man Can't Jump from 2023.
With Jack Harlow?
Because the original, much like some of the movies we've listed, don't need to be, probably like Roadhouse, are a classic and do not need to be remade.
Yeah.
No one said, you know what we should remake? White Man Can't Jump. As if Sidney Dean and Billy Hoyle, Woody Harrelson, or Wesley Snipes needed somebody else to step into those shoes.
King Cuddle says maybe give it a try.
Nope.
He didn't hate it.
No. That would be, I don't.
Sacrilegious, can't do it.
Yeah. It's about, it starts with principle.
It's the principle of the matter.
The principalities involved, first of all.
It's
so
the principality,
absolutely
Smokey.
not. White Man Can't Jump is a movie that, I know I've talked about it a few times here, but it was a movie that I rewatched over and fucking over and over and over. Like, I'm super, super fan of that.
Much like why I can't stand, I'm not super sold on this movie.
Yeah.
Is because of somebody in it. I don't like Jack Harlow. I think Jack Harlow sucks.
Yeah.
And I see it, I'm just like, I don't want to see him in a movie. I don't want to see Conor McGregor in a movie.
Don't give a shit. Another one that didn't need to be remade that was also stupid was Karate Kid from 2010 with
Jackie Chan.
I love
and
Jackie
Will Smith's
Chan.
kid?
I love Jackie Chan, but what you didn't need to do was try to have somebody come in and play a new Mr. Miyagi.
That's
some
roles are cherished, man.
Karate Kid, which is a Japanese form of martial art, and you have a gentleman who's got a Chinese background who would normally teach Kung Fu, and you're calling it Karate Kid. The logistics alone fucking made my brain hurt. Movie's awful, though. Except for when he kept telling the kid to, jack it off! Jack it off! Yeah, Jay Hill, you can go check that out on YouTube if you want. There's a video for that. And the last one I'm going to mention here, as like kind of an honorable mention as well too.
I didn't get to know about this.
You didn't get to know about this one. Is absolutely 110% an unnecessary movie that didn't need to exist. Is Godzilla of 1998.
Oh man.
Period.
You can. I mean, no, hold on. The Matthew Broderick one, right?
Well, that's the 98. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's not terrible.
Good try.
I mean, everyone has to try. I mean, Godzilla is left open for like multiple versions of it.
Well, that one's not good. So that's that.
I can't really, man. Ghostbusters 2016.
Take a movie you really like, dude, that you grew up with.
I know. That's fair. That's fair.
And bastardize it. There you go.
Honestly, I didn't hate it, but I understand from your fandom tone.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Come on.
I honestly, if I ever watch it, I don't want to say it's a guilty pleasure. It's just kind of like it's so bad it's good. Like it's so bad that I'm just gonna laugh at how just goofy some of these scenes are. Because like I said, Matthew Broderick just seemed like a fish out of water in that movie.
Yeah.
Every time he had any kind of dialogue, I was like, he sounds like he's saying these words like, why am I in this movie? With that same type of attitude, like, why am I in this fucking movie?
Every
bro?
time I think about an asexual Godzilla dropping eggs in Madison Square Garden, I want to rip my balls off. So there's that.
I mean, it's just twisting things a little bit.
Yeah, sure. The only thing that really, it's so weird that the cartoon was actually pretty good though. But either way, anyways, that is it. So we actually, talked about this morning a little bit in the Discord, and I really appreciate everybody just jumping in this morning. All of a sudden, we kind of went back and forth, and I actually didn't realize about the revival. So we're not going to dive into all that with the revivals, reboots, and remakes, whole can of worms. But we want to talk about remakes specifically. Listen, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones. I think there's ones that are open to interpretation. I can see both sides of it.
Sure.
Some of them, listen, at the end of the day, my feelings is when it comes to this stuff, if technology was something that we needed more to get better of something out of, maybe like Thing, for instance, out of the early 80s, that makes sense to me. But like when you're a movie that focuses mostly maybe on action or even dialogue, such as Roadhouse or maybe White Man Can't Jump, you don't need them to be remade. What you need to do, Hollywood, is make some fucking original stories or do something different. Figure it out, because the stuff is exhausting.
It
is. And video games is also falling into it as well too, I feel like. So, it's silly. I mean, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We can sit here, honestly, there's so much TV, like that's getting, I say you guys mentioned some TV stuff that even that sometimes is a slippery slope as well too. But there's so much things over there. These were just, I think, the biggest ones that hit the radar as well too, for like far as just awful fucking remakes or, things that did well to the source material. So
God, that's why, like, dude, I'm so thankful that like a movie like Jaws, it's timeless in a way. They don't do there's not a whole lot of stuff in the movie Jaws. If you go watch Jaws and really think about it, there's only a couple instances where there's stuff going on where like, oh, that didn't age well.
Right, and that's
the boat, the radio they use on a boat, or the arcade game that the kids playing. Like those are things where you can just be like, that's kind of like weird.
Right.
But like for the most part though, like you can watch Jaws and be like, this holds up fucking well.
You can watch Jaws right now and you're like, this is a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah.
That's still
at
fucking
no point do I feel like,
shit.
man, this
Right.
feels dated.
Right.
It's just fucking a robot shark.
Right.
Awesome. Wasn't there a third Thing remake in the 2010s?
Yeah, so that is a prequel. It's a revival of that canon story, but it's a prequel to the original 82 story. When at the beginning of the original Thing movie, when you see the helicopter coming in trying to shoot the dog from the Norwegian base, they focus on the Norwegian base, what was going on there. You had Joel Edgerton in that. You had what's her face,
Mary
Elizabeth Winstead as well too. We've talked about that briefly too before. The story and everything what they want to do in that movie is awesome. The CG is what literally pretty much ruins that
when
movie.
that studio and dude, the thing is, they shot that movie with practical effects.
Yeah, and you said they scrapped it for CGI.
They shot that movie with practical effects, which was what made the 1982 thing so fucking good. And they opted to put in this fucking just absurd, poorly done CGI, and you're just like, dude, you fucking failed.
Yeah.
Because it is a good story, dude. The way that it ties into the first one, it's fucking awesome.
It's literally it's so coherent, but
everything's there. But then when all the CG kicks in, you're just like, you fucking
it's
had
so bad.
one goddamn job. Nobody remembers the Thing 1982 for the story. I mean, it's good, but it's the practical effects that made it fucking. That's why it holds up so well. You can watch the 1982 Thing right now and be like, man, this looks good. This still looks fucking good and believable.
Last week.
You know what movie could have been improved on? They should have bricked Firestarter.
Yeah.
Right, Firestarter was meh back then, and they were like, you know what? We're just going to keep fucking it up. And you bring in somebody like Zac Efron, who's currently showing that he's a good actor, and they just make the story even fucking worse.
He couldn't save it.
Unbelievable. So we've seen some bad remakes. We've seen some decent attempts, and we've seen some really good ones. We want to know your guys' and girls' thoughts. If there's a remake out there that you absolutely adore or absolutely fucking despise, let us know in the comments below. We want to hear from you. I feel like this is a very divisive topic. It's a topic that can generate a lot of conversation, and I love getting people's perspectives on stuff. I want to make a point to make out that I was not discrediting Jay Hill on whether or not he thinks Roadhouse looks good or not. I just wanted to show that, like, look, depending on a person's love for the source material and who's involved with the new one, like White Man Can't Jump, it's really easy to see two different perspectives. He likes MMA. That looks cool. I'm not a super huge fan of the original.
It's an easy way to
I
understand.
know he liked it, but, this finds appealing. I look at that and be like, this is a fucking disgrace. Is it good? No, I'll watch it, and I will eat fucking crow if it's good. But I have very low expectations for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the respect for the original. I know I mentioned Ocean's 11 in the Discord, but for real, that's an incredible remake. The first movie is ass. That's the thing. I did watch the original, and it is just not nearly as entertaining. And dude, I mean, like back then, that cast was hot. The original Oceans, that Frank Sinatra, that was a hot cast. And this new one, the George Clooney led one, awesome cast, but just way more entertaining. Way more entertaining.
Well, they're actually actors.
Italian Job, there's another good one.
Yeah, Italian Job is pretty cool.
Like I said, I love Casino Royale. Yeah, exactly. I forgot that there was an original, first one version of that. Was that wasn't with Sean Connery, was it?
Thought it was.
Was it?
I don't know. I'm not versed in my Bond.
I couldn't remember if it was that one movie with the one guy that played Bond one time.
Right. But all right, well, I gotta pee. So
he's gotta pee.
We should probably wrap it up.
Let us know your thoughts on remakes. But that is going to do it. Oh my God! I'm just joking. We're not. That's
guy.
the second time I've done that in
Third
3
time.
weeks. Is it really?
Third time you fucked up tonight.
Sorry, man. I gotta change that. It says closing, and I didn't want to fucking do that.
The fucking spider monkey will be here next
I
week.
know. I'm getting old. I'm just old and decrepit. The Fly is a good remake.
Yes, actually, very yes.
I'm telling you, man, this is a conversation where we can go down a deep dive.
You start reeling, stacking them on each side of that fence. What's good and bad,
man.
So.
And I feel like you get people who are gonna cross and lock horns on shit. Like, you know what? That's actually a good fucking remake. I mean, it's a great point of contention. I think it's a great conversational piece, and I think it's a good discussion to be had. And I'm glad we were able to do it. Don't worry, everyone. Contract talks are coming. We're relooking at it. Yeah, man. I got to restructure my shit real quick if I want to stick around.
The monkey just puts his hand on the contract. Really simple. But hey, no. As always, we appreciate you guys showing up here tonight. I know it's late as it is as we get to it, but we appreciate the constant love and support. A lot of bits out there. Thanks, Forge, for those as well too. All the subs tonight. We appreciate you. Some new folks in there following. Thank you. We appreciate all that support. Continue to do what you do, which is like, sub, follow, share us all out there in social media. We're hitting it hard out there. Hit the exclamation mark tick over there for me if you could. We are getting that TikTok going as much as possible as well too. If you're not following us on TikTok, please do. When you get a chance, if you see we post something, comment, like, repost. That's huge for us as well too. We're just trying to get sight on everything. Growth is our goal this year. So as always, don't forget to check out 7 Dungeons live every Monday night at 7 p.m. live as he's doing all that amazing yarn spinning with the crew over there, telling that D&D awesome story. They're getting really thick into that story, so it's a good time to jump in now as well too. Also, Half-Ass Beer Review, putting out videos nonstop right now for all your craft beer reviews, and he's diving into some great beer news and other topics of discussion. He's kind of branched out as well too and bringing some more stuff to the table, which is great too. He's bringing up some awesome conversation. Give him some love. Don't forget to check out King Cuddles when you get a chance as well too. He is streaming throughout the week, typically doing all kinds of fun stuff. A lot of times just getting sweaty on some battle royale games as well too, but it's a blast to catch you do that. So thank you again, everybody. We appreciate you. March 2nd and 3rd, Midland Mall Comic Con, Ghostbusters 40 year, put on by Fets, Midland Mall. Gonna be there. If you're there, come say hi. We appreciate you guys.
Make sure you stay tuned to the socials. We'll let you know what next week's topics are gonna be. We're gonna go through and see what movies are coming out, maybe some shows we can get caught up on. We'll figure it out. We always do. We appreciate the support. We appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in, whether you're watching live on Twitch or if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or iTunes. Your support means the world to us. For Fanboy Tone, I'm the Dude 79. Thank you so much for watching. I will be live Friday night, probably with something. I don't know if it's going to be Call of Duty. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'll be live Friday night streaming some games, shooting some stuff, getting drunk, and making an ass of myself. We will see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m., right here on Twitch. Have a great weekend, everybody. Now we can close it.